Tricked you there. I was trying to pretend that the audio wasn't working. It is working. Hello everybody and welcome to The United Stand. How are you? We are live and we are awaiting this Manchester United transfer news, of course. Transfer news. What you want about? We're waiting on the Manchester United team news to come out. People are saying it's a joke team, so I'm just going to have a quick look at this joke team for you. Which is not. Here it is. Okay, De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Jones and Lindelof, Williams, Fred, Andreas, James, Lingard, Rashford and Greenwood. So Maguire's not fit and Martial's not fit to start either. But Lingard's back. You know, the one players that we did want back, we've got that. So I've got to change the team a bit here. Yes, Phil Jones in a Carabao Cup tie. You want it. You wanted it. You've got it. Nobody wanted it, but we have got it. So Phil Jones starting. This is what happens when you don't play a player over the festive period, when you could have been resting other players, quite simply. So that's what's happened tonight. We've put ourselves in a situation where we've got to play Phil Jones, but we haven't been picking him, keeping him match fit, if he can even do that, over the last while. And the midfield three hasn't got Matic in it. Okay, I actually would have played Matic in this game. I know that sounds totally contradictory because I don't actually rate Matic that much, but I don't know why you'd play Andreas Pereira. Maybe he's looking for a little bit of energy. Because actually, you know what? When you look at that front six, I've got to be honest with you, there is a little bit of energy about that, isn't there? But look, you know, there will be people saying, oh, you know, I can't believe the team. It's a joke team and all that. But I think, if I'm absolutely honest with you, that team, and the bench consists of Romero, Dalot, Matic, Chong, Gomez, Mata and Martial. So Martial clearly not quite ready to start, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, that's how we're lining up today. Lingard start. Jules King says it's a decent team. So that is the team there for you. Greenwood up front with James and Rashford, I would assume. That's how they'll do that. Lingard playing in that space. I mean, as I've said before, whatever you think about Jesse Lingard, and he doesn't have many uses these days, but he does sort of fit a game against Man City where they do give you space for him to spin into. So that'll be interesting. Rashford captain as well. I think he deserves that. I don't know whether he's actually captain material, to be fair. I think it's more about his performances recently. I don't think he strikes me as captain material, but who are you going to give it to? Jones and Lindelof is a concern. I feel it's a concern to chuck in Phil Jones into a game like this, if I'm absolutely honest with you. And you've got to wonder why. Can I just wonder why for a moment? You've got to wonder why David De Gea is not the captain in this game. It doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense to me why you wouldn't give it to David De Gea. I've got to admit that. I'm not so sure. But, you know, the team is... I don't think you can moan about the team. I think you moan about the team because you moan about the fact that we haven't got great squad depth and we haven't made any transfers, because I don't... Twan is still injured, Gary Conway. Phil Jones, get the loops as Captain Hoods. And what's the Man City lineup? Well, let's have a quick look at that one as well. That's very, very important as well, of course. Be interested to see how strong Man City go. I'm guessing they're going to go pretty strong in a game like this, because they do take it seriously, and it is a Manchester derby. Having said that, I mean, Ederson's not in goal, Bravo's in goal, Walker, Otamendi, Fernandinho and Mendy, so that's pretty strong. Rodrigo, Gundogan, Mahrez, De Bruyne, Bernardo and Silva and Sterling. So Aguero's on the bench, Ederson's on the bench, Jesus is on the bench, David Silva's on the bench. So I mean, it's not quite their strongest team, I suppose. I don't know what they're doing. I presume Sterling will play down the middle, with Mahrez and Bernardo sort of playing off him, and De Bruyne, Gundogan and Rodrigo. But I think United can do. I think United can. I still think United will win tonight. That is my feeling. I think United will win tonight. But as I said, I mean, look, that's not the sort of United side that leaves you with massive confidence. Of course, I accept that. We have got a situation where, look, I think we're all geniuses in hindsight, aren't we? And I want to come into this game with positivity, because it is a Manchester derby, and I think we can do something tonight. And the one thing I would say is let's focus on a positive for a moment. Marcus Rashford is lethal in Manchester derbies. He's absolutely superb. So giving him that captain's armband, will it galvanise him even more, or will it give him more problems? I don't know, but we'll see what happens with that. But with United tonight, I see a lot of energy in the front six positions: Greenwood, James, Rashford, Lingard, Fred and Pereira. Look, it's the old line that Ollie likes. All of those players run around a lot. You know, even though Lingard has been useless, he does run around a lot. So there's a lot of energy. And when players are running around a lot, that can force the opposition into mistakes. And that's what happened at the Etihad. So I probably would have expected Matic to play tonight, just to give us some defensive stability. But I think many of us would have said Matic would get overrun by a quick Man City side. So Ollie's probably got to deserve a bit of credit there, because he's saying, well, look, if I pick Matic, Goldbridge and the like are going to go... Ollie doesn't really think this, but I'm just saying it from a United standpoint of view. If he'd picked Matic tonight, I guarantee we would have all sat here now going, oh, I don't fancy Matic in this game. He's going to get absolutely bossed by people like Sterling, Gundogan, Silva, De Bruyne, Mahrez. That, you know, they're quick, small players that are just going to have a party. So, you know, I can sort of see why he's done it. Having said that, I don't rate Pereira as a midfielder, so that concerns me, but that's to do with squad depth. Do you think fans who banter United should see the United stands as United FTW? I don't know what you mean by that. But Joe Tomlin says Jones is going to get assaulted. So yeah, the front six, I can see what he's done with what he's got. I don't think anybody would have picked a different front six, would you? I mean, what can you do? We don't have depth up front, and we don't have depth in the midfield. So I think the only thing you might have done, and get in the comments, I want to see what people think about the team. The only thing you might not have done is you might have played Matic instead of Pereira, but I can see why he's not done that. So I'm not going to moan about that too much. All I'm going to say is my general moan is that why are we not signing midfielders and attackers? Because we need them, and it's proved again tonight. With regards to the defence, obviously Luke Shaw is not fit. I predicted that was going to happen. And Elov Stalj says, where is Maguire and Shaw? Neither, as I recall, are on the bench. Let me just double check. No, neither are on the bench. Maguire or Shaw not fit for the game. So I thought Brandon Williams would start tonight anyway. I think it's another big test for him against a Mahrez or a Silva or a Sterling, depending who he has to mark. But with Maguire, you know, there was always a risk he wouldn't play, and that means that Phil Jones would play. My only criticism here is that he's got to pick that team tonight. I know people aren't happy with it, some people, but he's got to pick that team tonight. And I understand why he's not gone with Matic and he's gone with Pereira. You know, but in relation to the back four, he's got to pick that team. Luke Shaw's not fit. Ashley Young can't play 2 times in a week. And if Maguire's injured, you've got to play Jones, because Twansibi, Rojo and Bay are all injured. So he's got to play Jones. My only thing I would say is that I think that Phil Jones should have been playing over Christmas a little bit. I think Phil Jones should have played against Wolves, and then Harry Maguire would be fit tonight. But for some reason, and it worries me about tonight, if you look over the last few weeks, it's been Maguire and Lindelof every game, twice a week for weeks. He's not given either of the centre-backs any time off over Christmas, and they've played so many games, and now Maguire's picked up an injury. And in fairness, we've had a super chat coming here from Mayowa Adukeoyo. He says, Maguire didn't need to play on injured on Saturday. Ollie's poor squad management shown again. It's very irritating. I do understand that. I think, as I say, we're all geniuses in hindsight, but to be fair, if anyone's been watching the United stand, we have been talking about this for a few weeks. I think there's been a couple of games. I think Boxing Day against Newcastle, they should have rested Lindelof or Maguire and played Jones. And I definitely think in the FA Cup tie, you didn't need to go with your first choice centre-backs. And it's backfired. And it's backfired in a way that it concerns me, because if Ollie is not going to rest his centre-backs and keep playing them all the time, that shows that he doesn't trust Phil Jones. And remember, the last game for Phil Jones was Sheffield United. That's the last time he started. And he subbed him off at half-time. So I'm wondering if Ollie, to be fair, has been picking Lindelof and Maguire because he doesn't trust Phil Jones, and he hasn't got any other centre-backs that he trusts, because he's not given him any time to play in the first team, which is unbelievable, because you need to keep your players sharp. If you think about Mata, he's not a first teamer, but we've seen Mata starting games, and we've seen Mata playing games. He's been kept sharp. Phil Jones hasn't played for a month. And yet we've had how many games in that month, and we've not given him any game time. So that's what worries me for two reasons tonight. Three reasons. One, Phil Jones, we're all worried about Phil Jones, let's be honest. Two, he's not had any game time for a month. And three, I think that's because Ollie doesn't rate him. So we're chucking him into a game like this tonight, and he'll be nervous. He will be nervous, so I'm worried about that. Gunnar Station says, good evening, Mark. Phil Jones is awful, but I think Bravo is worse, so wouldn't shock me if United get a good result tonight. I actually think we're going to win. I do think we're going to win tonight. I do. I haven't got any major problems with the team that he's picked because of injuries and everything. I think that's about as good as it gets. Martial is on the bench. He's clearly not fit enough to start. So my score prediction, Ali Matar, I'm going to go with United to win 3-1. I'm going to stick with that because I think that Man City's defence is weak. The previous comment there highlights about the goalkeeper for Man City, but I think defensively they're weak anyway. I think we've got people like Greenwood and Rashford and James who can make things happen. And I think the only thing I would say is we've got to defend well. And we haven't got Harry Maguire. We've got Phil Jones. So, and to be fair, who's the left-sided centre-back tonight? Because if it's Phil Jones playing on the left side, that's not fair on Brandon Williams. He's a young lad in a big game, and he needs a centre-back next to him that's going to help him out. So I would move Lindelof to the left and put Jones to the right, because Jones has got Wan-Bissaka then. Jones and Williams together as the left side of defence, that worries me, because Williams is young, and then he's got Calamity Jones next to him. So I would swap Lindelof with Jones. That's the worrying thing. I think when you think about the Etihad, we defended really, really well, and then we hit them on the break. Can we defend well today with that defence and that midfield? And also, let's talk about the midfield for a moment, because I think Fred's been very good, but is Pereira switched on defensively to pick up runners like De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva? I don't know. So there's a lot of responsibility on Lindelof, and there's a lot of responsibility on Fred tonight. Maguire's already injured. Van Dijk never gets injured, says Yassar Said. No, but I would say about that one, let me just come back on that one and say, in fairness to Maguire, he's played literally every game since he's been here. An injury through fatigue was inevitable. A 2008 United side versus current Liverpool, who's better, says Karan Banzel. I'd say United, to be honest, but Liverpool fans will say them. I don't think you can solve that argument. We can get mad at squad management with Ollie, but there really isn't much squad to pick from or rotate, so once again it goes back to the board, says Leaf Hunter. I do agree with you on that one. Kuno90 says, hey Mark, weekly watch along reminder for you to promote Glazers Out once again. Much love. Thanks for that, Kuno90. And Mark, how many players do you think we really need to effectively rotate the squad with quality players when games come in thick and fast? Look, I don't think we need 4 or 5 players right now. I think we need 2. We need a midfielder and an attacker at the moment. And in the summer, we need another 2. We do, I'm happy for it to build out gradually, but what I'm not happy about is that we didn't do it quick enough. Make sure you smash a like on the video, everyone. Let's see if we can get 1,000 likes. And make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are new. Joseph Dell is a new member to the club. Remember, you can join the United Stand Members Club by clicking the join button. You get a little badge next to your name in the live comments, and that changes every month right the way through to the Platinum one, I think, after 6 months. Thanks for your support and welcome to the club, Joseph Dell. And Nasser Haroon says, Mark, did you see Antonio Conte call out Lukaku critics for calling him a donkey? He's clearly been watching the United stand. Oh, me and Conte got on well for ages. He's always asking me for advice. Mark, do you know if VAR is included tonight, says Michael Southcombe. I don't think VAR is in the Carabao Cup. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it is in the Carabao Cup. I'm not 100% sure. Can I also just say to you as well, let me just double check this and make sure I don't want to come across as an idiot. I do that enough. We will have, I've put it in the top line of the video description, Instagram. If you are on Instagram, click the link in the video description and follow us on Instagram on the United Stand. I've been really bad at not telling people this, but obviously Flex goes to every single game, and on match day, once he's in the ground, he does all like little stories of the goals and what the atmosphere is like and little updates from the game. So if you haven't followed us on Instagram, it's brilliant on match day. He's not in the stadium yet, I've just checked, but give it a follow on Instagram and you can get all the inside atmosphere. And I know a lot of you probably may never get to go to Old Trafford, or you know, you've been but you haven't been for a while or whatever. You can get all the atmosphere home and away with Flex. He's in the grounds at every single game. Follow us on Instagram for that. The link's in the video description. What is opinion on Ollie if Lingard gets sold, says Yasser. I don't see how Lingard's going to get sold. I've just got to say this. I don't see how Lingard's going to get sold. Where would he go? His bread is buttered too well at Manchester United. He's an Instagram star. He's a Twitter star. He makes loads of money. Anywhere he goes is a step down. You know, even if Liverpool wanted him, he's not going to have as much media exposure at Liverpool as United, because United are that club that let their players have that media exposure. Also, he's just come out and said that he's having problems mentally because of things that are going on at home. You know, he's having mental health issues. So why would he move from Manchester? I think this is a total red herring. I do not see Lingard leaving Manchester United, and I still believe what I've been told for many months, that the contract's done. They're just waiting for something good to happen so they can announce it. And that's, you know, hopefully that something good will be tonight. You might get a couple of goals. Fuzlidinho Finas, thank you very much for the contribution. Having a beer for United today. I've got a good feeling you're going to open up a cold one, says the Machine 94. I won't be. I'm on the Lemsip, mate. I've got a bloody... I ain't quite got a cold, but I'm fighting it off. Fires just missed me yesterday. Mark, how can relax and rewatch United? Love from Australia, says Luke Bloomfield. Well, look, what's going on over there is thoughts with you and your nation, and I hope that it all stops soon, because the devastation is just ridiculous, isn't it? It's ridiculous, and it's heartbreaking, especially... it's the wildlife that stuff that bothers me. I just think it's so unfair. They're so innocent in it. Not that the humans aren't, but you know they don't know what's going on, do they? Balkak says, I hope tonight Manchester United will win. I hope Phil Jones ain't wearing his pink boots today, says Yahi Muller. Phil Jones will never wear his pink boots again. He will never wear it. He's fully aware of the pink boots thing. He will never wear them again. Hey Mark, how you doing? Just a shout out to my daughter Sakina. I can't just see with Bravo in goal. I can see with Bravo in goal Greenwood getting a hat-trick. That's from Fuzlidian Finis. Thank you, Finis. Mark, you're wrong. Greenwood and Jones need to swap, says Timmy H. Yeah, Phil Jones is playing up front. Mojo says, Herrera, Fellaini, Valencia, Lukaku not replaced. Mata, Matic, Lingard, Jones, Young to be moved on. Pogba is leaving in the summer. That's 10 players we are short on, both in terms of numbers and quality. My screen blurred, my fault. Is Greenwood up front, says Ashley GR. Yes, Greenwood is up front. What do you think the score is going to be, says Isaiah? I'm going to go with a Manchester United win, 3-1. I'm not going to change my mind, but I think for Manchester United to win tonight, we need two things to happen. We need Phil Jones to have the game of his life, and we need Jesse Lingard to have a good game as well. So we're asking for miracles, but I think that's what we need to happen tonight. Andrew Garland says he's backed Manchester United at 4-1. And Mark, I hope Phil Jones ain't wearing his pink boots again. Yeah, I've already answered that one. Why doesn't Gomez start over Lingard, says Shahil? Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna actually tweet that. I mean, what does Gomez have to do to get a start? I don't know. I mean, Lingard's done nothing in a United shirt, definitely for a year, and he's still getting picked because he runs around a lot. I mean, I can't say pick me, I'll run around a lot. I'd be blown out my arse after 5 minutes, but I just don't get it. I don't really get it, but it is what it is. It is what it is, and we go with what we've got without wanting to use too many a cliche. We go with what we've got. We are what we are, and it is what it is. Would you have played Gomez instead of Lingard? I personally would, says Yaluda Frank. I would. I never expected it to happen, though. If Lingard scores a goal, I will bathe myself in milk, says Leaf Hunter. And Jordan Such is in the house. He says, Mark, did you see the replay with Wolves is a week tomorrow? What if Fred gets injured tonight or at the weekend? What the hell are the club waiting for to bring in a midfielder? Well, how many, does somebody in the live comments know how many games Fred's now played? I think he's, didn't he get rested against Newcastle? But he's played a lot of football in a very demanding role. And he's going to have to work hard today. I mean, he's going to have to work hard today. United won't have a lot of the ball. Good to see Gomez and Chong in the team. Hopefully they will start getting more game time and will be convinced to sign their contracts, says Mojo. Well, they're not in the team. They're on the bench, mate. And to be honest with you, they may well just be bench fillers because it doesn't mean they're going to get on, does it? Ollie should play Garner and Levitt more with our current midfield problems, says Shivan Dawar. They were both injured, but I know Garner played last night for one of the reserve teams. Lingard to AC Milan, says JT Music FTW. I'd love to see it happen, but I don't think it will. And I mean, look, Akalesh makes a good point. Why is De Gea not captain? Why is De Gea not captain? And all I would say is about De Gea being captain is that he was captain at the start of the season. He's never been given the captaincy back. And what we were told was that De Gea was told he'll never captain United again because if you think back, I can't remember what game it was. It might have been Palace when we lost. He came out and said that's not good enough. The players have let the club down, etc. Well, the club apparently, Ed Woodward reacted very badly to that. He didn't like the public slating of the team and he took the captaincy of him. And that's why he'll never be captain again. But Roy Keane used to do it all the time, and he was the best captain the Premier League's ever had. So it just shows you the insecurity within Manchester United Football Club, if that is true, that they, a player comes out and tells the bloody truth, and it resonated with the fans. The fans were very, the fans respected De Gea for doing that, but the club take the captaincy off him. Do you think a Casemiro plus Isco plus cash in exchange for Pogba swap would be possible? We can't take Modric, Kroos or Bale that Real Madrid have offered, says Chikorito Hernandez. Well, I don't know what Real Madrid have offered. It's all speculation, isn't it? But what I would say is it's not that common that you get players offered up as swap deals. I know we did Mkhitaryan and Sanchez, but I don't think that happens that often, to be honest with you. The Manchester City team, if you want to know it, that is the United team there. Anthony Martial's on the bench, Maguire and Shaw are not. So Martial's made it for the bench. Lingard's made it back for the first team. What a surprise. I mean, if you could order the players that were out ill, Lingard, Martial, Shaw and Maguire, we've really come up short, haven't we? If you could order the players that you'd want to get back from illness, it would be Martial, then Maguire, then Shaw, then Lingard. What do we get? We get Lingard back, no Maguire, no Shaw, and Martial's on the bench. But such is life. But so the Manchester City team is Bravo in goal, Kyle Walker, Otamendi, Fernandinho and Mendy as the back four. Then you've got Gundogan and Rodrigo. Then you've got De Bruyne, Mahrez and Sterling and Bernardo Silva. So I don't know who they're going to play as the front man because Jesus and Aguero are both on the bench. So they're probably going to play with a false nine, which is probably a tactic that Pep is going to use so that they don't get caught out like they did at the Etihad. I think there's going to be penalties, maybe one each, says Jenks1102. Well, that's a good point. That's a good shout out because both teams have got players that are quite skillful and flair players, I suppose is the word. Why are you telling us about Shaw? He's not a big player, says Salah Labdi. Well, I like Luke Shaw. So, come see, come sir. Thoughts on Pogba stories, says Taib Mohammed. I don't know what they are. Kessie from AC Milan is a great player, very similar to Fred. No points, a midfielder coming on the 31st of January when we're out of both cups, says Michael McGarry. Look, I keep saying this. I was doing an Instagram Q&A, funnily enough, at lunchtime, and I said this. I said that the issue is with Manchester United and transfers, honestly, is that United are not linked to anybody. And we know United leak like a sieve in relation to transfer news. So if we're not linked with anybody, we're not signing anybody anytime soon, because it would just be leaked out there from whoever or wherever it normally is. So at this moment in time, we're not signing anybody. So even if we sign somebody, I don't think it's going to happen until the end of the transfer window. And you're very right. We need players now. And what's happened is they weren't. I mean, look, this angers me anyway. And it's only because Pogba and McTominay have got injured that they want to sign midfielders. They weren't signing midfielders. If Pogba and McTominay had stayed fit, it was going to be the normal, Pogba's like a new signing. And that's what was going to happen. But now they've had 2 major injuries and they're like, maybe we do need to sign somebody. So they're now desperately thrashing around trying to sign somebody. But I don't know who, and I don't know whether they will. Sorry about my crack comment. It was a joke. My bad, says Dano Jr. Did you see Leverkusen director saying he values Kai Havertz at about 120 million, says Al. Well, you ain't going to get 120 million. It is on Sky tonight, Harry Caldwell. Sky Sports for that. Jones Y says answer Gumbo. Look. Let's just be fair to Phil Jones for a minute. He is the only fit centre-back that we've got. And that's just the way it is, isn't it? He's the only fit centre-back we've got. Because we've ran Harry Maguire into the ground like a working donkey. Not that he's a donkey, but you know what I mean. We've overloaded the donkey. He's not a donkey in a footballing terms. I mean, he's done a lot of donkey work for United over the last 4 months. I mean, and also for England. I think Gareth Southgate said it when Maguire went on England duty back in November. He said, realistically, I'd love to give him a rest because he's playing so much football. That's inexperienced management as well. That's a manager who, in fairness, is playing for his job every week. So he doesn't rotate players like he should do. We've seen it with Rashford. We're seeing it with Fred. We've seen it with Maguire. We've seen it with Wan-Bissaka. He doesn't rotate his key players because he's trying to keep his job. So he puts himself before the fitness of his players because he's thinking short term, not long term. But he's got to think short term, because imagine if he had rested Maguire for Jones, we probably would have lost those games. So it's a tough one. Is Mason going to come deep and Jesse as centre forward, says Sid T. He might try and do something clever like that. 6782 Anthony says, quote from last night, only assist Lingard has provided in the last year is the current flu bug going through the dressing room. Twan Sebi is injured. Rojo is injured. And obviously Bay is injured. Where's the quiff gone, Mark? Says Ethan. It was the hair product I had in my hair. It always looks like that when I've had it done. I don't use that product very often. Gooberface says, what's your score prediction? I'm saying 2-2 today, then 0-1 to United in the away leg. Come on, you Reds. How's your day going, by the way? It's good, but I have got a bit of a sore throat, so I've got my Lemsip here, which needs to kick in, because I've got a lot of talking to do. That feels better. Why do we keep starting Lingard, says Martin McCartney? I don't know. I don't know. I can't say anything more than that. Fosu Mensah's not fit. Skip out. A lot of people talking about players that are not fit. Eric Bay, Twan Sebi, Fosu Mensah, Marcus Rojo. They're not fit. City back four is utter crap, says Cad, and I think that's the big hopeful point, isn't it, tonight? Do you think we'll see Angel Gomez tonight, says Brandon Rasmussen? I don't know. I doubt it, to be honest with you. I mean, you look at that bench. Martial will probably come on. Matic will probably come on at some point, so that's 2 subs. And he'd probably bring Mata on ahead of Gomez, wouldn't he? I think Gomez is on the bench to fill spots. I don't think he'll play. Do you agree with Jamie Jackson's article on Ollie keeping his job if he wins the Carabao Cup? If yes, how was it fair to sack LVG when he won the FA Cup? And that's from Anne-Marish Ranjan. And that's about this story coming out that if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer managed to win the Carabao Cup, the club would be very happy with that and be happy to keep him long term. But obviously, as Anurash says there, well, Van Gaal won the FA Cup and they sacked him. This is because the club have lowered their expectations. They would take the Carabao Cup as a success now, whereas a few years ago, was it 2 or 3 years ago, they sacked Van Gaal after winning the FA Cup because they expected United to be doing better than that. So what we're seeing is the total lowering of expectations from within Manchester United Football Club. Nicky Hardy says, here you go, Mark. Thanks for the contribution, mate. You can do that through the $ at the bottom. Mention me, says Philip Botterill. And Mark, do you think Man United has become a brand rather than a football club? Says Yahi Mulem. Definitely, and the evidence is out there. A lot of people have said it. Agents, ex-managers, players, ex-players. Van Gaal said it. Herrera said it. Raiola said it. I feel January is critical for Ollie, says Ahmed Hamada. If we're out of Carabao Cup and the FA Cups and we lose top 4, Ollie will be out in the 2-week break after Wolves in the Premier League. Every game counts. January was always an exciting month. You know, everybody loves Christmas, don't they? And we do. But I was always excited for after Christmas because I think that it's interesting, you know, the amount of games we've got. We are playing every 3 days. Midweek next week is the Wolves replay. Midweek after that, we're playing Burnley. So we've got, and then midweek after that, it's the second leg of the Carabao Cup. So January is a ridiculously busy month for Manchester United, which only overemphasises the point that we need to make signings. But it could go one of two ways. We could come out of January with a Carabao Cup final in February. We could come out of January in the next round, you know, into the fifth round of the FA Cup. We could close the gap on top 4, or the other way round. Top 4 could be gone. We could be out the FA Cup and we could be out the Carabao Cup. It's probably going to be somewhere in between, isn't it? But you know, there are 2 extremes available. Liverpool gets 2 signings done. What's wrong with us? We need players more than they do, says Dennis G. 2000. Who else have Liverpool bought? I know they got Minamino, but who else have they bought? Niall Dawson says, do away goals count? I think they count after extra time in the second leg. Ilkan Hussein says, Mark, who's better in the prime, Pogba or Kevin De Bruyne? By the way, love your content and keep it up. You lift our moods up every day. P.S. The coaching staff must change. I think De Bruyne is better than Pogba because he's more consistent. I suppose if you're saying who's the better player on their day, I still think De Bruyne. I think they'd play together very, very well. If you put Kante behind De Bruyne and Pogba, I think you'd have an amazing midfield 3. But I think for me, De Bruyne, even though he plays for Man City, there's things he does where I just go, that's immense. So I do think De Bruyne. Where will we fit Sanchez from next summer? Surely he can't be ignored with that much wages in place, says Akil Rashid. Well, they're trying to get rid of him. It's whether they can do or not. Cobb Ross Aiken says, in my honest opinion, David De Gea isn't vocal, doesn't even command his box, is making mistakes and doesn't organise his defence. Also quiet off the pitch, not captain material. Fair point, fair point. I don't think Rashford's a captain though, but we'll see tonight. I think the problem is we don't have a captain, do we? Rashford's playing up front, somebody said there. Well, we'll change it at kick-off. I mean, look at the team on my left. It could well be Greenwood up front with James on the right and Rashford on the left. It could well be Rashford up front with James on the left and Greenwood on the right. We'll see. I probably would... I want to see Rashford on the left because I don't think Rashford through the middle works. I think he's better off the left. But Dan James is better off the left. But I think Rashford's our star player and I think I'd like to see him in his best position. Jordan Such says, Mark, if no signings are made this month, do you see us finishing this season the way we did last? 100%. We'll fall off. We'll fall off, Jordan. If we don't make any signings, we're going to drop off. Yusufa Jate says, please stop saying United are going to win. Well, it's a Manchester derby at Old Trafford. I think we've got to go into it expecting to win. Otherwise, what's the bloody point? I mean, even if we were shit, the whole point of a derby is, you look at Liverpool versus Everton, Liverpool are way better than Everton, but Everton fans will always believe they're going to get something because it's a Manchester derby. So I think United will definitely, for me, it's a Manchester derby, isn't it? So we'll see what happens. Let's see what happens. Skipat Latte 95 says Calamity Jones and no show Lingard. Can't wait. Well, it's going to be interesting how Phil Jones and Lindelof deal with what looks like is going to be a false 9 for Manchester City. No Aguero, no Gabriel Jesus, both on the bench. Their front 4, if you want to call it a front 4, is De Bruyne, Mahrez, Bernardo Silva and Sterling. So one of them's going to have to go down the middle and occupy the centre-backs. Whoever that's going to be, it's probably going to be Sterling, isn't it? So a different kind of game for them. Pace and flair and trickery, which is not Lindelof or Jones or Maguire's, to be fair, strong point. I hope this isn't the case, but based off the lineup, I feel like we're about to get bent over, says Don Island. Stay positive. And Yeah, stay positive. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner, you can do that, and please do. I'm just looking at my Instagram. Flex and rants on Insta. Right, Lingard's at the wheel, says Sustainable. Score prediction, Mark, says Stephen Joyce, 3-1. Are you bored of me saying score prediction? What's your score predictions? Get in the live comments. Make sure you subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner. We're going to try and get to 616,000 subscribers tonight. Remember, the United Stand, very busy time. We were live last night at 11 o'clock with some breaking transfer news. We've got Transfer Daily every morning at 7 a.m. We're live every night at 8 o'clock. We'll go live if there's any breaking transfer news. We've got previews, match reaction. And tonight we will have the fan cams, of course, with Flex interviewing the fans outside the ground after the game. Do away goals count in the Carabao Cup semi-final, says Jordan Such. My understanding, Jordan, is this, that they do count after the second leg in extra time. In your opinion, if United make any signings in January, who do you think that could be? As I said last night, Ryan, you've got to go off the most credible sources out there. I felt that Sky Sports were credible last summer in relation to United, and they're saying that we're in for Babakary Samori from Lille, who's a 20-year-old midfielder. So he would be my number one at the moment. But I would only be 50-50. I'm not saying, yeah, that's going to be done. I'm like many people now with United. I just don't trust us in the transfer market. I fell into the trap again with Haaland saying, we're definitely going to buy him. You can tell by the body language of Ollie. And then we didn't sign him. So for me, it's about when they hold the shirt up now. Do you think Dalot has a future at United, Mark? Would love to see him playing more, but Aaron Wan-Bissaka is such a good right back. Going to be tough to take his spot, says Lee McGarveran. Yeah, but Lee, if you look at the last two months where we've been playing every bloody 3 days for ages, that's why Dalot's in the squad, because you could play Wan-Bissaka in the Premier League at the weekend, and in the midweek game you played Dalot. That's what I think United need to do with Dalot, but he's been out injured. So it's the same with Shaw and Williams. I think that role needs to be shared when they're both fit. Somebody said 6-1 to City. Bloody hell, a lot of people are going for City though. A couple of people have said 6-1 to City. Look, I think United are going to win, but let me just say this. I think Pep Guardiola is going to try, obviously, to win the game because that's his job, but I think he would like to smash United, because smashing United in a derby is a desirable thing to do because it's the Manchester derby. But also, I think he was very annoyed with them beating him at the Etihad, and I think that he took that quite personally. So I think he's here to do a job on us tonight. But as I've said, if we can't win tonight, what can we do? You know, we've not had a great season, but the highlights of this season for us has been beating Spurs, beating Man City, not getting beat by Liverpool, raising it in the big games. And I think that's why I'm confident tonight, because these players, I don't trust them, but in these games, I know to trust them because I know they'll raise the game. Like, you know, everyone's going to play well tonight because they raise their game for the big game. It's not these games that they struggle in. Ollie must be gutted. Drinkwater went to Villa today. Was probably Ollie's backup to Longstaff given his quality and nationality, says Unbreakable Patches. I'd say what, Villa needed that signing and it's a good signing for them. Mark, this lineup would struggle via Liverpool reserves or Leeds. Do you think Leeds played nice football last night, says Samuth Anel. I was very impressed with Leeds last night. Apart from in the final third, they should have won. They were the better team, especially in the first half. But fair play to Arsenal, they played better second half. Yabba-do. Dalot is poor defensively. He would suit a right wing role because his crossing is great, says Numar Rahman. Yeah, but I don't think that he is. I don't think he's quick enough to be a winger, to be honest with you. I think Dalot's Dalot's a Mourinho signing as well. I mean, there's no way Ollie would have signed Dalot, would he? He's not got a British passport. But I don't know what Dalot's future at Manchester United is, really. He's a very much an unknown quantity. And I can't say any more than that, if I'm honest with you. So, yeah. I think that, yeah, with Dalot, it is an interesting one. I like him, but I'm not so sure how it's going to work out. There's a bit of a story about Luke Shaw as well. Thanks to @Trev J. Dot on Twitter. This is from the Manchester Evening News, head Manchester United correspondent. And he's saying, not as headline worthy as Maguire, but Luke Shaw, complete exclusion has been coming. If he wasn't well enough to have made it, he would have been at the Lowry. United don't like ill players around the squad. No doubt William deserves to start again. So they're basically saying that Luke Shaw has actually been completely dropped. It's nothing to do with illness. He's been dropped. So that's quite interesting. And I'm sure a lot of you will be quite happy with that because you're all saying that Brandon Williams should be starting every game. So, you've got what you wanted. And it looks like Luke Shaw has been completely dropped by Ollie. So, a lot of criticism around Luke Shaw. I don't agree with it. But it is a fan channel, and that's just my opinion. Everyone else has got a right to theirs as well, of course. So yeah, interestingly, looked like he's been dropped completely. Rashford doesn't have Martial, so he's poor without him, said a couple of people there. And Ewan Vickers is a sure starter. What's our benchmark? Romero, Delo, Matic, Chong, Gomez, Mata, Martial. I mean, the only thing I would say about that Luke Shaw thing there is I don't necessarily believe that's true about Luke Shaw, because if you look at the bench, we've had, over the last few weeks, we've had 2 left-backs on the bench. Tonight we've got none. No Young and no Shaw, and we've got Brandon Williams at left-back. So I don't necessarily think that's true about Luke Shaw, because Williams is young. He could get tired. He could pull a muscle. We've got no left-back, apart from Delo. And Delo's the only defensive player we've got. We've got no centre-backs. So I would have expected Young or Shaw to be on the bench, really. So I suspect there may be something in illness or injury. Paul, can you hear me?
Yes, mate. How you doing?
Shady Abanasa says, City are going all in. I'm surprised, to be honest. I'm not surprised by the team news. I think United have put the best team they can put out. It's not a great team in some areas, but I can't complain. And City, to be honest, haven't gone as strong as I thought, resting Aguero and Jesus. But what are your thoughts on the team news, the return of Phil Jones, and how do you think this game's going to go?
The return of Phil Jones sounds like a horror movie, to be honest. But let's see how he does. I mean, yeah, it's what I expected. Strong team. This is as much as we look upon it as it kind of feels like a non-event. This game is weird to me, but it's the semi-final, first leg, and a Manchester derby. So why wouldn't both teams go for it?
Yeah, I don't really get that myself, actually. There are some people like today who are saying I've never not been so interested in a Manchester United game, and I'm like, to be honest, I've been looking forward to it all day. It's a Manchester derby, so I am interested in it.
Same with me.
But a lot of people are trying to not be. It's Pep against
I'm not
Ollie.
even trying not to be. It's got a weird feeling about it. It's just got this weird detached feeling about it. It's kind of like maybe we've had so much football over the Christmas period that this has come along again on top. And we know we've got a replay of the FA Cup as well. Do you know what? Next couple of weeks is huge for Ollie. Imagine losing a couple of Premier League games, getting knocked out of both cups, which is not unthinkable. Wolves are a decent team. We know what Man City are like, and our fluctuation of form. It's a big couple of weeks, Ollie, and this is quite a big game, actually. So, I don't know why I feel so detached from it, but it's kind of weird. I expected this type of lineup. I'm buzzing for Williams. I think Greenwood deserves a spot as number 9 because it's his natural position, and I think he'll do well there, but I don't think he'll get it. City have gone strong. Sterling's probably going to play false 9. I don't know why they haven't got a striker, but I reckon Pep's tweaked it so we can't counter-attack against him. And if we can't counter-attack against him, what are we going to do?
Yeah, I'm intrigued by that. I think the key to... We won't know till it kicks off, but I would have thought, why, rest Aguero but play Jesus, or play Aguero. But to play neither of them, it looks tactical to me, because you don't need to rest Jesus and Aguero because they don't play together anyway. So I think what he's done is tactical. I think, I'm not a big fan of Ollie's coaching. I think it's pretty poor. I think I've said that many a time. But I think Pep is respecting it, and he's setting up some sort of plan to deal with it so that we can't hit them on the break, which could make Lingard nil and void, because I think the only game Lingard plays well in is when he can spin and run into space. But if City are going to deprive him of that, then we know that Lingard struggles.
Yeah, if you watch Lingard, every time the ball goes to him, if he's got his back towards the goal, what he does, he spins and he lets it run past him and then tries to run onto it. Whereas, you can't do that if you're playing in that position. You need to be able to put the foot on the ball, fend someone off, lay it off, and then make a move. Lingard just steps over or flicks or lets it run past him, so he's ineffective. And also Pereira, he's a bit feeble to play in that position. So I don't know how we're going to do in midfield today. I mean, recently we haven't fared too well, have we? And without McTominay, we are a little bit unstable. So I don't know where the link's going to come from with the defence and the attack. And also, Phil Jones being instead of Maguire, he doesn't play the ball out so well, does he? So hopefully we won't have another Phil Jones, massive panic attack and him letting in a goal. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm getting bored of getting hyped up and looking forward to seeing something different and then not seeing anything at all different. So hopefully today, Ollie's got a bit of tweaking to do, because I don't think Pep's going to come out the same as he did last time. He realises he made a mistake.
Well, B. Yakov says the only possible way of winning depends on if City sit back or not. Last time they committed too many errors going forward. Our midfield makes me cry. And Owen Chambers says, I really think the board have no intention of sacking Ollie, even if things get bad, because it will look bad on them and they won't give him money. Well, long term, you might be right on that. I mean, look, I think to me, people are saying, why are you being so positive? Well, it's because we're playing Manchester City.
You can't win, can you?
It's a Manchester derby. It's at Old Trafford. We've had a bad season, but we tend to do well in these sort of games. So I think football sometimes is very simple, and you go off form. And Man City suit. I can't say we're one of the best teams in Europe on the break, and then say that we haven't got a chance in a Manchester derby against a team that is poor at the back and leaves space. So that's why I'm basing it on that. But I do understand, Paul, that people look at that United side and look at the City side and say, oh, I'm worried. But they said that was the same thing at the Etihad. And I know we're slightly weaker, but so are they today.
Yeah, but if they let us do what we're good at, we'll win.
Yeah.
So if they play their normal football, we'll win, because they push a very high line. They do leave space at the back. They rely on their possession and their tactical fouls when they lose the ball to stop transition. Whereas if they play that game today, we're too fast for them. We're too quick. And we will put goals past them. Well, do you remember last time we could have been 5-0 up before half time?
And I wanted to ask you about that actually. The Ryan Cave says, what's your thoughts on Angel Gomez as a promising young lad? Surely has to be given more of an opportunity, especially with the lack of form. I do answer that. I mean, I don't know what anybody has to do to play at number 10 over Jesse Lingard, because he just does nothing. But more importantly, I expected Matic to play today. He is playing Pereira. You've mentioned Pereira there, but I sort of justified that by saying, well, look, Matic ain't very quick. At least, I think he's gone with mobility in the midfield and the attack. I
don't think it makes any difference to the midfield, to be honest. I watched the Flex and Rant show today, and Flex came up with a good point. He's saying we need Eriksen here, we need Maddison there, we just need better midfielders. We just all round need better midfielders, because all of our midfielders, they seem to do a job. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but he does a job. Matic does a job. His job is holding, but he can't do this. Pereira does a job, but he also can't do something else. So all of our midfielders have a specific role. But when you're talking about all-round midfielders, to blend together and create the perfect midfield, we don't seem to be able to get that. So whatever rotation's in there, there's always going to be a hole to fill. Like, we've got Matic, but he's too slow, but he holds the ball well. We've got Pereira. He can see a pass, but he's too weak. There's a failing in each of our midfielders. Fred's shown up. Pogba, we know who he is. The rest of them, there's always something missing. So whoever we put in there, there's going to be something missing. It just depends on, will Manchester City take advantage of what's missing.
Dan Tatlow, for everybody it's a super chat. Remember, you can do that through the $sign at the bottom, so everyone can answer this, Paul and me as well. He says, one player in the world you could bring into United, who would you bring in? I'm not going to say Tony Kroos.
Yeah, or someone of the ilk.
See, I'd bring
the link.
I'd bring Fabinho or Kante in for me, which is quite boring.
Yeah, we're thinking about the same position, Mark.
Yeah.
No, it's the same position. Someone to stabilise what we have and make them better. Because I think if we have a world-class player in that position, they will make the rest of our midfield better, because they won't have to worry about doing what he does.
Yeah.
Tony Kroos is like 99% pass rate, 95% long ball pass rate completion, and it will just keep things ticking over, so everyone else can do their job. Whereas we don't seem to. Everyone seems to be scrambling around to do that job and forgets what else they have to do. So I'm completely on the same wavelength as you, mate. If we can get Kante or Cruz or someone, is that Samurai? I don't know his name, but he plays for Lille.
Yeah,
I think he'll be good. But he's
Samori.
just a bit inexperienced. But that position is key for me. I think that's the one we need to put in there. I think Grealish should be fantastic for us.
Braveheart, I've got to give him a shout out because he says Cruz or Kante, which sort of gets the best of both worlds, or what me and Paul are saying. But a lot of people, I mean, Ndidi's in there. Somebody said Ozil. 2 people said Ozil, but it must be Arsenal fans. A few people said De Bruyne. But no, I think if you know United, a lot of people are going to go with that sort of holding midfielder role because, yeah, you could bring Messi in, you could bring Ronaldo in, but we have got really talented strikers. They just don't get enough of the ball. I think the United's biggest problem is that midfield. You've got to get somebody who can link the defence with the attack, and if they can also marshal the defence as well, which Kroos or Kante could do, or Fabinho, that's what I would be looking at. And it's sad, because I think most clubs, I mean, if you ask Liverpool, they'd probably say Mbappe because they can afford to take the, one of the best players in the world and drop a luxury item in. But for us, it just shows you how fundamentally we have an issue with our spine, really.
But we have luxury players. We have the luxury players. What we need is, as you say, we need that spine to make the luxury players better. We need the spine to do the dirty work, to do the basics, to keep the ball ticking over, so it'll create space for the special players that we have to be able to do what they can do best. So we have talent in our squad. We need a spine and better coaching, and I think it'll turn it around. I really do, but I don't know if Ollie's got that, and I don't know if the Glazers will spend enough money to be able to fix that spine. But if we can get those 2 things right over January and next summer, then I think we'll take a step forward. If we don't, we're just going to stagnate and plateau.
I think there is a bit of a pressure on Ollie tonight because one of the things that is consistent is that we're not very good against the sort of teams outside the top 6. But what we have had this season is those good results against the top 6. And in some ways, I wonder if Ollie deep down doesn't want this because he could have dined out on that win at the Etihad a little bit longer. And, it's less than a month later and we're playing them at Old Trafford. And if we were to get beaten comfortably over these 2 Carabao legs, that win at the Etihad will just totally disappear. Whereas I think if we didn't have them, and maybe we'd got Villa and we get to the final, he could have dined out on that a little bit longer. So it's a test for Ollie tonight because the one thing he's always had this season is that, I'm good against... I'm not saying Ollie shouts this, but a lot of people who defend Ollie say, well, he's got a really good record against the top 6. Well, he has, but he lost to Arsenal on New Year's Day. And if he loses here, and we've got Liverpool in about a week and a half, that record against the top 6 could disappear as well. So, we've got to do something today. And Stuart Wallace, I wanted to ask you about this, Paul. Stuart Wallace says, I understand thinking we can win playing counter-attack, but do people really think Pep hasn't realised that? I think Ollie is going to have to have a plan B today, hoping he does, worried he doesn't. I mean, I don't know. I think it's intriguing. I said this in the preview. I think that Ollie's plan A and only plan is counter-attacking football. But I've always said it about Pep. I think Pep's plan A is to play, on the front foot and leave space at the back. So I actually think that's why I'm predicting a win. I think it will be plan A against plan A. And if we defend well and hit them on the break, we'll win. If we defend badly, we might lose. But I don't think Pep's going to go, let's sit back at Old Trafford. I don't see him doing that.
He's never had a plan B, has he?
No.
Pep's plan A's worked. It's worked wherever he's been. He's never had a plan B, and he prides himself on it. He prides himself on the fact that his football...
It's a pretty good plan A.
It's a fantastic plan A. It really is. And if he doesn't tweak it, then I think Pep's arrogant enough not to, I think he's arrogant enough to put his strong team out there and think, if we play well doing what I think we can do, then we'll beat Manchester United. And I'm hoping that's how he's thinking, because if he does that, we will win. I'm sure of it. If he comes out and he tweaks it, sits back a little bit, doesn't leave so much space, and Ollie has to be creative in what we do, then we're going to struggle. And I heard Ollie in his press conference today, he said the last Man City game, he said, yeah, we had 10 really, really fast, quick attacks. It's all he's interested in. Everything I hear from Ollie is fast, quick attack, break, quick, breakneck speed, quick, run past them, score. It just seems he's so plan A focused that I don't think he's ever going to bring possession football into it. So this is what we're going to play for the rest of the season and ongoing with Ollie. He just needs to find a way of making it work because it's all he's got. But yeah, I think Pep is arrogant enough to play as plan A today, and I think we could take advantage of that. And if we score first again,
they'll panic.
We'll be in the driving seat, and we could win. If we don't, we'll struggle.
Yeah, I mean, I've said that myself about United. I think I was talking about it on a show the other day actually, where with United, I don't know whether I'm ever gonna be happy with Ollie playing this brand of football because it's not one you can sit back and enjoy. I mean, if you watch Leeds Arsenal last night, I know Leeds didn't score in the first half, but it was relentless possession of the ball, creating chances, edge of your seat, exciting to watch. And of course you see that with a lot of teams, and I think United have had some really good results this season, but I've never sat and watched United this season and been comfortably entertained with the way we play. It's just so quick. It's over very, very quick. And we've won games, and I've loved winning them games, but they're not... We don't have entertaining periods of possession. It is very quick. Wham, bam, thank you, man. Yes, we're 1-0 up. We're 2-0 up. And you go, wow, we're 2-0 up. It's like the Etihad. We were like, whoa, we're 2-0 up. Whoa, we could be 3-0 up. But it's not domination of the ball. It's not something to be proud of, I suppose, in a snobby way. But, I think we are seeing that is the Ollie we want to play.
Do you know what it is, Mark? It's exhausting. I feel at the end of 90 minutes, I feel emotionally drained because you're just waiting, for that moment. We lose the ball, we get the ball, we lose the ball, and we're waiting for that break. And in between times, we're taking pot shots at our goal. It is draining. It really is, and I don't think I'll ever be happy with it either. But when it works, it's fantastic. But I don't think it's working enough, and I think people will figure Ollie out sooner or later. We've got our results against the top six because they've gone out with their game thinking they can beat us. If they're sensible, they won't do that next time, and that's when Ollie gets figured out a little bit. But when it works, we've got the right players to destroy teams. It's just whether the teams will let us do that. And our domination of the ball, we've got to get better on it because I don't see it being sustainable. This counter-attack football, it's 15 years old, and I don't understand it either tactically. It's like we trigger the press, but when we press and we get the ball back, all we do is play it back to our back four to be able to recycle the ball to the midfield because we haven't got enough players overlapping or in space to be able to attack when we do win the ball back high up. It's just very confusing football to me. It seems like 3 different tactics into one, but counter-attack and pressing don't fit. I've said that before. So yeah, I'm confused with it. I don't know where to settle on it. I really don't. When we win, I'm happy. When we lose, I'm sad. That's basically what it is at the moment.
Definitely. So what are you going to go for prediction-wise? I've gone 3-1 to United.
1-1.
Ooh.
I think it's going to be a tight game today. I think we're going to defend well, but I don't think we'll stop City scoring. I don't think they'll leave enough space for us, but I think we get a goal. So 1-1, take it... I'd take 1-1 as well. I would. I think when the pressure's on Man City, it's going to be our advantage. So I don't think we'll lose.
Roy Law says, I'd rather take Ndidi than Maddison for 80 million. Thoughts? And Ace says, realistically, what outcome you think is going to come out tonight against the two teams? We've just done that for you, Ace. I went 3-1. Paul's gone with the draw. I've never noted Rashford doing that Ronaldo thing before, where he comes out looking into the sky. Maybe he does it every single game. I don't know. Pereira does it. Fred does it. No. Maybe I just don't notice it. But,
one thing on Maddison, I don't actually want Maddison. I don't think Maddison's a finished product. I really don't. I don't think Maddison's what we need in terms of his all-round game. He's very good on contributions and he's very good in moments, but we have those moments, players. I don't think he's composed enough in the midfield to dominate a game and have the team revolve around him. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to get some pelters for that. It's my own personal opinion.
Well, I don't
think Maddison is quite mature enough as a footballer yet to be able to take over the position that we need him to do.
I think that going back to what Roy Lloyd said, I think he's absolutely right. I think Ndidi or Maddison, I probably would go Ndidi because I think that's the position that we need. We were just talking about that, but I think the sensational side of it, the publicity side, you're drawn to Maddison because it's all Maddison. But again, it's the old British passport thing, isn't it? I think if Ndidi had a British passport, they'd be calling him, the British N'Golo Kante. So I probably would take Ndidi over Maddison, to be honest with you. But we'll have to wait and see. That's not happening until the summer anyway, isn't it, with Maddison? But United players, good sign coming out of it, looking up for it. I mean, that's one thing, Paul. People saying, why are you going for United win? You can't trust Manchester United, but in the big game, they suddenly bloody turn up. In a way, it's very irritating. But again, I'm going on form, and United do turn up in these games, so I'm expecting us to turn up.
We will turn up. I think we will turn up. I think we'll give them a good game. But if we go 1-0, 2-0 down, which is possible, I don't want our heads to drop. That's one thing I'm looking for. Do not let your head drop. This is a Manchester derby. You fight and fight and fight. I don't care what the score is. If we get the first goal, I think we'll win. But 1-0 is probably going to be my result for today. We'll see. I'm looking for a real intense game today. I'm looking for high energy, looking for a press. I'm looking for everybody to be on it, and then to be all over Man City, because we need a sign of something a little bit different, and we need a lot of running about and energy, and then see how we go on.
Paul, we'll get you on at half time, mate. Thanks for popping on.
Cheers, buddy.
Speak to you in a bit, mate. Paul will be in the live comments. He's one of our mods, and very, very good comments as usual. George Ramos says, how are you today? I hope we win. Come on, United, and try not to bang in the table. Yeah, people hate it when I bang in the table, but it's just passion. I can't help it. Phil Jones is playing today. I think I've banged the table quite a lot when he's been playing. Ollie surely has to be English. Why is Rashford the captain? Love Rashi, but that's proper disrespect to De Gea. And that's from Fitness and Richard Sharath Kamath. We're about to kick off. I will click the timer for you as soon as it does. Here we go then, people. I've gone with a 3-1. Paul's gone with 1-1. Some of you have gone with 3 3s, 6 1s to City. We're about to find out. It's about to kick off. We're just waiting for the whistle to go. Big game. Old Trafford. Old Trafford will be fired up for this one. The players look fired up for it. We're off. I think United are going to get this done. Let's get it done, boys. Let's get Manchester United back on the map. Just for 90 minutes anyway. It's going to take a little bit longer to get us back on the map, but we can certainly make Manchester red tonight and have the bragging rights. What we don't want to do is go into that second leg of the Etihad and be with the game over, if you know what I mean. But please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner, that would be great. You're very welcome if you are new. We're live every night at 8 o'clock. We've got fan cams after the game. We've got transfer news, etc. Subscribe, bottom right hand corner, and share the video if you are already a subscriber. But a cross coming in from City there, but United have cleared it. Early doors, looks like Greenwood's playing through the middle with Rashford to the left and Jan James to the right, which I'm happy about. I want Rashford to play in his better position off the left. So it is as it is on the screen. Do take a look at where Phil Jones is playing. I don't like the idea of Jones being the left-sided centre-back against young Brandon Williams. I think he should have some protection. But there is a wayward pass by City's Mendy there, and United could have been in with a 3v2, but Rodrigo saw the danger. Mike Dean is the ref. It will be eventful, says Fitness Unscripted Sharath Kamath. So City doing things that we want them to do here. Passing it around. We've got the press. They are passing it around in their own half. So those mistakes are on. And Brandon Williams. Oh, Kyle Walker's made a good run there. Into the box. What a tackle by Brandon Williams that was. And it was a risky tackle. I think Brandon Williams has got an element of risk about him. But a very, very good tackle there. And it's gone out for a goal kick. But Kyle Walker on the overlap. Jones couldn't get near him. Brandon Williams was from a standing start. But as Thomas said, it was a good recovery tackle by Brandon Williams in the box on De Bruyne to keep them away. I'm actually on my phone to look at something here. Yes, so everybody, link in the video description. Top line is our Instagram page. I've been told off by Flex about this. Every game he goes to, he's got his phone. He's at the game. On the way to Old Trafford, in Old Trafford, loading up clips throughout the game. So if you want to get that in-match experience while you're watching, just have a look at the stories of what the atmosphere is like inside. Links in the video description to our Instagram page. Give it a follow. Go to the United Stand story on your phone and you can see what's going on in and around Old Trafford now, which is good. So United starting off with the team that they've put out there. We have got Phil Jones playing on the left side with Williams. I don't like that. I don't like young Brandon Williams having Phil Jones next to him. He's a young lad, and I think he should have the more experienced centre-back in... well, not experienced. Jones has been around for ages, but the better centre-back should be playing next to Brandon Williams, and Jones should be next to the better fullback, which is Wan-Bissaka, to give a bit of stability. So I think we might be exploited down that left-hand side. But Bernardo Silva's playing as the sort of false 9 with De Bruyne close up with him as well. Sterling playing to the left up against Wan-Bissaka again. That was an interesting combat against at the Etihad, and Mahrez up against Williams. But United with a free kick there. Greenwood taken out. We're not winning yet, cheeky chicken. Cheeky chicken. We're not winning yet. Has Jones got pink boots on, says Marky. He will never wear pink boots again. He will never wear pink boots again. Exciting, isn't it? But I do agree with what Paul was saying. There doesn't seem to be as much buzz around a Manchester derby. And I don't think it's anything to do with the Carabao Cup. You know what I think? I think it's football fatigue. I think it's festive fatigue. We've all had Christmas and we've all had loads of football. And there's a football match every 3 days at the moment. So we've not had time to sort of have a break and build towards this. It's all happening very, very quickly. And I think we'll have it the same when we play Liverpool, because we've got Norwich and Dan James is in down the right. It's a decent cross, but Man City have cut it out. Oh, Dan James, very good pressing there. And again, United doing what United do. All over Man City, and Pep's not happy. But this is what we did at the Etihad, and it's working again. Just pressuring them, and you pressure them into mistakes. I tell you who makes loads of mistakes. Mendy. Gobby on Twitter, crap on the pitch. Amazing pressing by Dan James, says Braveheart. Everybody's pressing really well. They're in pressing. What I would say is, though, the first 7 minutes against Wolves, the first 7 minutes against Arsenal, we pressed brilliantly, and you thought, what a start, and then it just fell away after 7 minutes. So we've played 5 minutes. Let's see if we can do it for longer than 7. Why do you look... Oh, James Watson. You've just got yourself completely removed from the channel. Well done. Super chats don't mean you can be abusive. Evening mods on my phone, says Smutty. There you go. Very good press, says Adads. And accidents do happen, says Fred Luis. It's going to be an intriguing game. You know, I watched Man City play Liverpool at Anfield, and I thought in that first half at Anfield, City were immense. And yet they got battered, didn't they? Score-wise, they got absolutely done over. So City can play brilliant and still get beat. So that's what I'm hoping. But the start's been quite good from United here. And Sterling, again, recovery tackle by Wan-Bissaka. The titanium right back, as I call him. We're playing quite deep, as you'd expect against Man City. There'll be no offsides today, and we've got a corner there. Interesting from corners. I never think Man City are a threat from corners, but we haven't got Maguire today, who's very good in the air. Rashford is the captain. Strap yourself in, folks, says Jamie. What's your score mark, says Caleb Nakar. I went 3-1 to United, but we do zonal marking, so I don't think that's very good. Brandon Williams with the header away there. I don't like zonal marking, and we haven't got Harry Maguire tonight, so I'd be a little bit worried from corners. But United pressing again. City don't really care about the press, though. They'll just pass their way out. They're not bothered. And this is the thing about a press. A press has got to... You press if 2 players press and 1 doesn't, you can pass your way through a press. So United have got to press as a team, collectively and cleverly as a front 6, which is what they're doing at the moment. I'm quite interested that Paul went with a 1-1. I was hoping we'll get some goals in this today. Long ball out to Sterling. Wan-Bissaka's on him. That was a good game at the Etihad, wasn't it? When Sterling... Good tackle by Phil Jones there. Where Sterling did Wan-Bissaka in the first 5 minutes, and everyone was like, clip it. Got him on toast. And then Sterling put him in his pocket for the next 80. But United are on the attack here with Greenwood. Into Rashford. Lovely run. Oh, it could have been 1-0. It was a good cross. And I thought Dan James was going to get a tap in. Greenwood into the box. What is that by Fred? It's a shame. It was good play by Rashford there. And He just couldn't find the Dan James tap in. I don't know whether, I mean, Rashford initially, let's watch this back, whether he should do any better. Lovely slide rule pass by Rashford. Skins Otamendi. I think Rashford's got to do better there, to be honest. He's got a clear path to Dan James. He's just not found it. Does everything right. Rashford, as we know, final ball sometimes lets him down. And I think that was a fairly straightforward cross to Dan James. It's a shame. Could have been 1-0. Best chance of the game. Manu Turgoy says that Fred's shooting's not the best. Fred and Pereira are not Brazilian, are they, when it comes to shooting? Coaches should tell Fred never to shoot, says Cobros Aikins. Yeah, as I say, they're not really Brazilian. I think they're from Bristol when it comes to shooting. You can already see that Jones doesn't want the ball from De Gea, says Zen Gaming Boy. He never has. And welcome to Ryan Lanigan, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Jones, I remember Jones and Smalling playing as centre-backs away to Fulham a couple of years ago. That's who's marking who there? Bloody hell, Sterling. No, we're going to get that. We're going to get rid of that. I don't know who was marking who there, but that was easy passing. Now Greenwood's away. No, it's Lingard actually. Good pace from Lingard there. Pep's telling his... I've seen Pep in the bottom of the screen there. Pep's telling his defence to play a high line, which is interesting, isn't it? That he wants to play a high line. Bit. Interesting game tactically so far, though. Manchester Derby, you see, I don't care where you are in the league. A derby will, level up a lot of things because everybody's, pumped up for it. And United certainly do look pumped up at the moment. Do you honestly think we'll sign anyone this window, says Extras E? No. I don't know. I think, I keep saying no because we're not linked to anybody, but we have to. So I'm sort of on the fence, really, and I don't like to be on the fence, of course. But it's a tough one to know. Am I worried? Says Oscar. I don't get worried. Nice layoff. Rashford. Oh, why didn't you go down? Fernandinho must have got a bit of the ball there. There's somebody behind the goal with their camera going, yeah, Rashford. And it's almost like they're going, give me a selfie. He's playing a game of bloody football, mate. I thought there was going to be an opportunity for Rashford to go down here as Fernandinho goes in, but he does get a nick on the ball. Otherwise, I think Rashford would have gone down. Anyway, corner for United. They have been slightly better with Fred. And Phil Jones did score a goal in pre-season from a bullet header. So we've gone short again. We're doing these short corners. They don't work. They're rubbish, these short corners. City make too many fouls high up the pitch as fitness and script. I was going to talk about that. Well spoken about tactically there, fitness and scripted Sharaf Kamath, because Man City have always been criticised for this in relation to their cynical fouls high up the pitch that don't tend to get yellow cards. And Pep's always done it, even in his Barcelona days. You foul the team high up the pitch. Because then it breaks down their momentum and you don't get caught on the break. And with United, I'm sure that is a tactic tonight to hit us, to stop us catching them on the break, is to submit that foul. But that's nothing new from Pep. He always does it. His teams always do it. Trying to find Rashford there. Jones does well. But you can't take your eye off this game at the moment. I think some United games you can. Don't know where the midfield is there. City having a bit of the ball. We might as well give a goal kick to Man City. We never score from corners and we're awful, says Extra C. How much we miss a character like Rooney, says Scrint Garamella. Different time, wasn't it? Different time, unfortunately. Wan-Bissaka clears ahead of there. City having a bit of Bit of possession here. United going deep when City have got the ball, of course. You'd expect that. I've got no problem with that. You've got to go deep. Although having said that, they haven't really got any pace down the middle, so I'd like to see us pushing out a little bit, because you don't want the gap to be too big between your attack and your defence when you get the ball. But this is what United have got to do. They've got to defend well and attack well when they get the opportunity. Rashford young, but youngsters look up to him, says Dazu W. United back on the ball now. Oh, God, Lindelof. I wouldn't have given it Phil Jones. He don't want the ball. Anyway, I didn't get a chance to say that, did I? I remember Smalling and Jones playing as centre-backs against Fulham a couple of years ago. And it was, all they did was fall back. We just had to keep hitting the long ball because they don't want the ball. Smalling and Jones, they ain't ball playing centre backs. Fitness Unscripted Sharath is our latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Thanks for joining Fitness Unscripted Sharath Kamath. You can do that by clicking the join button below. You get your little badge next to your name in the live comments. Thanks to the mods. It is 0-0 and we're pretty much second for second, so don't worry about anything like that. I think United are going to win 3-1, Max Hollows. Don't know why people... Oh, no, I'm not even going to read that, don't worry. And Aguero isn't starting. No, he's on the bench, as is Gabriel Jesus. So they've gone with this sort of false 9 position with Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne playing high up the pitch. But makes it hard for Lindelof and Phil Jones, to be honest with you. Well intercepted by Brandon Williams there. It's gone out for a throw into Man City. So 15 minutes in, can't take your eye off the ball. I think a similar thing has happened as to what happened in the game against Arsenal and Wolves. I think the first 7 minutes we went off like a bottle of pop. Really, really high press intensity. That's gone now. Look at us now. We're not pushing. You know, there's no pressure on Fernandinho there. First, I don't know why we do that. I really like the start to United games over the last 3 games. We've started really, really intense. Like, you look at City here passing it around. First 5 minutes, we were right up on them. Now we're not doing it. And I know it's hard, and it's probably to do with energy conservation, but teams are going to figure that out. First 5 minutes, United are going to press you really high, so just hit long balls out. They'll get tired of it. Thank you for making matches more interesting, says Vikan Guran. No worry. I can't put the real match on, no, James Barrett. Sky pay a lot of money to put the match on. United Stand's not going to just start streaming it off my phone. City. Oh, no. Oh, no. You can't account for that. You can't account for that. I've got to have a look back. Bernardo Silva's just whacked one in from the edge of the box, and that is disgusting in a way that I don't know who to blame. It just looks like a good goal, Braveheart. I agree. Kyle Walker into Bernardo Silva. Fred too slow to close him down. I don't know what Phil Jones is doing there. I mean, it's more Fred's fault, but Phil Jones sort of moves out the way. What? David De Gea. To be honest with you, I don't even... Fred's got to close him down quicker. That it's as simple as that. But it's... Sometimes it's unstoppable from De Gea. For De Gea, he can't get near it. I think Fred's got to close. It's easy. The thing that's annoying about that is you've got to defend well. You've got to switch on. And that, whilst it's an unstoppable goal, look at the goal. It's a Kyle Walker pass to Bernardo Silva, who takes a touch and gets a shot off. You shouldn't be getting a shot off like that. I think Fred's too slow, and I think that, we all love Fred, but he's got to close him down. He's got to close him down there. It's a brilliant goal, but you've got to ask the question that they've not had to work to get that shot off. So, great goal from Bernardo Silva, but I think United have got to defend better than that. And it's not the sort of goal you want to go in. You don't want to be conceding great goals and going, oh, we're 1-0 down after 20 minutes, because we know what United can be when they go 1-0 down. So you don't expect that from Fred. You don't expect that from Fred. Annoying. And a shock. A definite shock. A lot of people in the live comments saying that. I just didn't see that coming. Fred was trying to tackle the other guy, then tracked across too, says Michael Sauter. You know what it is? You know what it is? I'm going to give you some tactical insight here. This is coaching from Pep Guardiola. You know, we were saying, ooh, well, keeper's quick off his line there. I thought Dan James was going to get through one-on-one. This is coaching from Pep Guardiola because what's happening is they're not playing. They're not. If you want to look at that goal tactically, they're not playing a forward. They're not playing an Aguero or a Jesus, and Jones and Lindelof are redundant. So in a situation like that, to be fair to Fred, I'd have to see it back, but he's probably overloaded because Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne are playing. They're dropping into the midfield, but so's Gundogan and Rodrigo are already there. So who's Fred picking up if Bernardo Silva drops into that space? Bernardo Silva is effectively the striker, and De Bruyne is the striker. But if they drop and pick the ball up there where they do there, then one of the centre-backs has got to be going with them because Fred can't do everything. So I'd like to see that back again because it looks like it's Fred's fault. But what are Jones and Lindelof doing if they haven't got a striker to mark? You can't just stand there and let them take pot shots from 30 yards like that. So clever from Pep Guardiola to not play a striker because then the centre-backs can't just... They've got to do something. You've got to pull one of your centre-backs out, haven't you? And Roy Wilder says that it was Phil Jones's fault. And I think that, you know, I'd have to see that back at half-time. But it's too easy an opportunity to give away, to be honest with you. And Noel Ryan says, well, Pep's not stupid. It doesn't take long to figure Ollie out. Greenwood does not stay up front, so we have no 9, says Matthew West. And the end, what's happened with United again, I said this before the goal, so it's not, you know, it's tactical analysis. We've gone heavy for the first 5 minutes, you know, running around like a Duracell rabbit on bloody Red Bull. And then we've dropped that energy. And City are now, I mean, look at City now. They're all over us at the moment. They're just calmly passing it about. And again, Mahrez, watch out. Mahrez is about. That good block by Phil Jones, but come on. They're running through us a little bit here at the moment. Spot on. Jones needed to step forward there, says Michael. It looked like Phil Jones did need to step forward. We'll have to have a look at that at half-time. And Sen Gaming Boy says, William just backed off. Sorry. Well, to be honest with you, I'm not going to have a go at Brandon Williams without seeing it again, but certainly you can't be letting players have a shot from there. It's a brilliant finish, but the whole point is you don't let players who can do that have a shot from that far out. So 1-0 to Manchester City. A bit of a shocker, but a disappointing one. You can see Pereira's not wanting the ball in the midfield compared to Fred, even though it's vital for the midfield to be on it against the City press, says James Lacey. Well, look, Pereira or Matic isn't much of a choice, is it? I don't think Pereira's a midfielder. Certainly not at this level. And Matic would have been, I think Matic would have been too slow for a game like this. So, I mean, Brandon Williams has just been done on toast there by Kyle Walker and Bernardo Silva, but United have won it back. Need to see another replay, but Jones should have stepped out, I think, says Sean Finity. All I saw from Phil Jones is he steps to the left, which is nothing because he's got no player. Surely you step forward a bit, but I have to see it again. It looks like it's Fred's fault, but when you think about it, Bernardo Silva scoring, he's not the midfielder. Bernardo Silva's playing as the false 9, so that, to me, pushes it more to a centre-back position to step out, but they're playing a clever way at the moment where they're just dominating the midfield because Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne are moving from our centre-back. I mean, Raheem Sterling's playing through the middle now, and Wan-Bissaka's sort of like, well, who am I picking up now then? There's a lot of manoeuvrability between Man City's front four, and it's causing us a lot of problems. I mean, this is a good run, and I reckon that they got the ball there. Lingard. Bernardo Silva's gone down. Another Phil Jones clanger, says Scott Cook. I mean, that's not good. I mean, that is Fred there. I mean, he's got to do a little bit there. That was a good tackle by Jesse Lingard. Oh, Bernardo Silva hit Phil Jones's knee. That must have hurt a bit. This is what I was worried about pre-game. We need a quick plan B, and I'm worried Ollie doesn't have one. City with no strikers requires us to adapt, says Stuart Wallace. Well, look, you know, tactically, what would you do? For me, it's very, very clear that they are playing with no number 9, and it was very clear that they weren't doing that when they didn't pick Aguero and Jesus. They were going to play a false 9. There was going to be a lot of manoeuvrability. You can't just sit there with a back 4 against a team that's not playing with that's going to move around. I mean, Mahrez is stuck to the right, but Sterling's moving about a bit. De Bruyne and Silva are dropping and coming forward. I don't think you can just sit there like a traditional back 4. What I would have done is I would just get Fred to sit on his own as a holding midfielder centrally and have Pereira and Lingard drop in as box to box. I'd get 3 into the midfield. But because then you're balancing up against when Bernardo Silva or De Bruyne drops in. At the moment, we've got our back 4 with our 2 centre-backs who are redundant because they've got no one to mark. And then you've got two holding midfielders who at times are up against 3 or 4 Man City midfielders. So what you need to do is you need to get more numbers in the midfield. And again, it's just 1-2s into Kyle Walker. Sterling, good block by Phil Jones. It should have been 2-0. Recovery by Phil Jones there, but Sterling nearly scoring again. I don't know whether it was a save by De Gea on the first one or a block. But United are in a bit of bother here at the moment, and Phil Jones made a good tackle, a good block, but I think he was at fault for the first bit. And I don't like this as well. I'm not going in on Brandon Williams. He's a young lad, but I said this at the start of the game. I don't like the fact that Phil Jones and Brandon Williams are playing together. Brandon Williams is a young left-back who's starting his career out. Phil Jones hasn't played since Sheffield United, which was a total car crash performance. Why is Lindelof not playing with the young lad and Jones playing with Wan-Bissaka? Jones and Brandon Williams, they're just going 1-2, 1-2, to me, to you, and they're getting passed every time. You've got a young, inexperienced kid against a Calamity Clown. With a Calamity Clown, communication is not... Lindelof needs to swap with Jones. Get Wan-Bissaka to help Jones and Lindelof to help Brandon Williams. That's what we need to do. It's a bloody disaster class at the moment down that left-hand side. And City are just exploiting it. They're not doing anything against the Wan-Bissaka thing. I mean, United at the moment, I'm a little bit worried with United at the moment. The next goal's key. We're not out of it yet, but we look a little bit out of it. Although, Jesse Lingard. Midfield scared to take initiative, bring it forward. Complete lack of leadership, says Erin Nova. And Ciprino says, I just saw the goal. It's unfair to blame someone. It was a brilliant goal. Mate, there's always someone to blame on a goal. And I will look back at it at half time. But at the end of the day, it was a brilliant goal. But why is he getting a shot off from that distance unopposed? Like, somebody's got to come and get him there. I'm not. For me, it's Fred. But it may well be Jones. We are already looking exhausted, says Mojo. Well, we shoot our load in the first 7 minutes. We did it against Arsenal and we did it against Wolves, and then we just sit back. Again, we cannot play the ball out from the back quickly enough, so the press swarms us and we can't get out. Ollie needs to change it, or we're messy, says Crick MUFC. And Stuart Wallace, exactly, we need to fill the midfield. We can't just give up space where we currently are recipe for disaster against a quick passing team like City. Well, look, I have to take notes during the game for my match reaction. So let me just do this a minute. And Williams first 7 minutes. But again, I mean, look, Ollie is not reacting tactically. There is no tactical change so far. And as I said, just get Fred to sit in that midfield in front of the back 4, pull Lingard and Pereira next to him and go 4-3-3 with 2 box-to-box midfielders and Fred holding. If they do that, we might be able to get hold of the midfield. But at the moment, we're not getting hold of the midfield. Therefore, we're not getting the ball. So Lingard as this bloody false 9 waste of space position isn't working. 70% possession for Man City in the last 10 minutes. And this is not a strong press from United at the moment. City are, they're looking very comfortable. They've got their eye in. And that's the problem when you've got your eye in and you're feeling the ball and you're used to the pitch. Mistakes don't happen as much. Ollie out. It's been going on for too long now, says Big Boy Brenny. That didn't take too long, did it, to get her first Ollie out of the night? There's a few coming in now. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right-hand corner. We are currently on 615,600. So we're 400 short of changing that number to 616. So please subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner. We're live every night at 8 o'clock. We've got transfer shows, we've got previews, we've got fan cams after the game. They will be interesting. At the moment, United are in there with a boxer's chance. We're puncher's chance. We're hanging on in there, but terrible ball out from the back by De Gea there. God. Dan James is invisible, says the equaliser. I think in relation to the front three, where Greenwood, Rashford and James, they're in that usual position as a United front three where you're absolutely starved of service. I mean, I just read the stat out there. We've had 30% possession in the last 10 minutes. How are your front three meant to do anything? And at the moment, our only plan, as per usual, is to wait to hit them on the break. We can't get hold of the ball. We're waiting for them to make a mistake so we can go whang bam, thank you man, and hit them on the break. Kean Brady says Ollie's embarrassing our fan base at this stage as per usual with his out of touch tactics. He's got to respond. Jesse is terrible at the moment. Surely Angel Gomez is worth a look, says Sandro de Castro. Mate, you're not telling anybody anything new there, are you, with Jesse? He's done nothing. In 2019, no goals and no assists in the Premier League. He's done nothing for ages. So Sterling in here. That's a mistake. Look at the speed of the ball movement in City's midfield. Have our players enough quality, or is it only lacking coaching to find spaces to get the ball? Says Joe and Sunhan. It's not always about quality, though. I think people like to say, "Oh, if we bought, he needs new players." But I watched Leeds last night. I watched Liverpool reserves beat Everton's first team on Sunday. Liverpool's reserves aren't very good. That's why they're Liverpool's reserves. Leeds are in the Championship. They haven't got a better team than us. They haven't got better players than us, but they're better than us because their coaching's better than us. This team could be a lot better if it had better coaching, and that's the problem at the moment as well. We know this. Yeah, we do need new players. Some of these players are not good enough, but the coaching's not good, is it? What's happened to Axel? Says Sam Crutchley. He's injured at the moment. Look at and welcome to Wrecking Wenchers, the latest member of the United Stand Members Club. So we've had half an hour. City in front 1-0. Cracking goal. It's a bit windy. Bloody hell, it's windy. I didn't realise it was so windy in Manchester. It's blowing the ball. And the ball was moving. God, it must be windy in Old Trafford if it's blowing the ball like that. De Gea looks homeless, says Beat. Wan-Bissaka has done well against Sterling so far. Fred, Pereira's got to hit that in first time, which he does. Back post. Oh, cleared. Got to be careful here. Got to be very careful here. Oh, well in by Wan-Bissaka. De Bruyne didn't quite take it down. They were on the break there. Talk about us counter-attacking. Man City were counter-attacking there. Bernardo Silva scored, said, it was a good goal. I'd have to see it at half-time, though, because I just think that that goal comes around because we've not adjusted tactically to the fact that they're not playing a striker. They're playing a false nine, which is Bernardo Silva, and he drops, and I don't think anyone knows who they've got to pick him up. And that is the problem with a false nine. If they drop into the midfield, who picks him up? Because a midfielder's probably got a midfielder to mark already. And the centre-backs are there doing nothing. And Lindelof makes the mistake, and it's bloody 2-0. Who bloody what? It's Mahrez. It's 2-0. Couldn't mark a toddler's spelling test, Lindelof there. Slips on his arse. Slower than a snail's funeral. And it's 2-0. That's bloody frustrating, that is. What's he doing slipping over here? It's just a long ball in the air. Doesn't really... well, it's Lindelof who doesn't deal with the high ball. Then Slow by Pereira to catch him, and then he's caught on his arse. Lindelof, it's totally Lindelof's fault, I'm afraid. Terrible defensive header, heads it to Bernardo Silva, and then he slips in Mahrez. That's awful from Lindelof, I'm sorry. That is awful from Lindelof. That header needs to be going back to Man City's goal. Then he doesn't turn around quick enough. Mahrez has got the run on him. Bernardo slips him in. He's got his angles to cut the pass out all wrong. That's Lindelof on toast, I'm afraid. I'm sorry, that's Lindelof on toast. He's got to win that header. Powerful. You've got to put your neck in it. And then he's not reacted to his crap header. I'm sorry. That is on Lindelof, I'm afraid. Phil Jones is there going, hey, that ain't on me. And it is. And the thing is, this is the problem with United. Let me take it away from Lindelof for a moment. This is the problem with United. We go 1-0 down, the chin hits the chest, and the concentration drops. And ever since we've gone 1-0 down, we've looked worse. We've looked worse, to be honest with you. But he's not responded, has he? Ollie's not responded to what... If I'd said to you before they scored that second goal, if you're a betting person, who do you think's going to score? Or the percentage of someone going to score, you'd say 70% City are going to score the next goal. Jones is worse than Bravo, says Gunner Station. Ollie and his coaching staff had an hour to adjust tactics once they saw Man City's team sheet, yet even after 30 minutes, still no change, says Sam Hodgson. What has Ollie changed, says Jordan Such. And Rodrigo is the latest member of the United Stand Members Club. I mean, it is. I've got to change the score. I'll change the score. You see, I change things when I'm doing a bloody watch along, but going to be a yellow card here for somebody. Lingard. Well, it only encapsulates another crap performance by Lingard. Well, at the moment, the second leg at the Etihad could be an embarrassment. We have got to try and find a way back into this game somehow, because at the moment, it's embarrassing. Told you, mate, it's going to be 4-0. You didn't read my super chat every time I said it, but I told you 3-1 was crazy to even think as a score, says Dano Jr. Greenwood, wide. I thought he was going to score there. Corey Lenka says, breaks my heart, but Man United are a dead club until the Glazers are out. There is no future right now. All the talk and analysis is a waste of oxygen. I can't watch anymore, says Progressive Dad. Well, you can't turn your back. Is there away goals, Mark, says Mr. Companion App. I don't think it's going to be relevant. Crick MUFC says, to be fair, we were nowhere near City's level, but the bare minimum in derbies is to compete. We can't even make it interesting, so disappointing. But this is the thing. I mean, look, I think people will now say, oh, it's Man City, they're so much better than us. But yeah, I grew up watching Manchester derbies, and Man City were crap. But they used to beat United sometimes. Like, I remember them beating us 5-1. Like, it's a great level of the derby, and this is at Old Trafford. And we went to the Etihad a month ago and we beat them. But the problem is, we beat them in the Etihad as a bit of an ambush, really. They were quite arrogant. We'll pass you off the park at home and we'll win. And we hit them on the break and we're good at that. Today, Pep has adjusted tactically and Ollie is still using the same plan A. Let's hit them on the break when they make a mistake. But they're not doing that. They've adjusted to not do that. They're not leaving space for us to run into. They have got Rodrigo and Gundogan so that Lingard can't spin into space as well. We are trying to play the same game as the Etihad, thinking Pep Guardiola, one of the best managers in the world, is going to make the same mistake twice. He's not playing with a number 9. You've got to get bodies in the midfield. And yet again, that goal from Bernardo Silva comes about because we haven't got enough men in the midfield, because they're not playing the striker, and De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva are dropping into the midfield and they're swamping our midfield. If you look at the second goal, Lindelof's got to win that header and get rid of it. But when it drops into the midfield, City are picking it up because they've got the domination of the midfield. There is no second leg in this cup. Penalties after 90 minutes, says Mr. Glenn Johnson. There is a second leg, you're wrong. United on the attack here with Wan-Bissaka. Fucking hell. These stupid little flicks we're doing aren't going to work, are they? Look at this by City. Oh, my life. Brandon Williams, you need to get on your bike. And he does. How is that not a foul on Brandon Williams? De Bruyne. Oh, God! Get off! Get off! Get off! What are you doing? Andres Pereira scored an own bloody goal. It's 3-0. But why is that not a foul on Brandon Williams? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's pointing the finger. I think it is a foul on Brandon Williams, but you've got to switch on afterwards. You've got to bloody switch on here. Let's watch this back. What are we doing? It's so good. Someone's got to go and win this ball again. Lindelof going for the header, falling on his arse. Mahrez running through. Brandon Williams. That's a foul. That's a foul on Brandon Williams. That's poor refereeing. Where's VAR? I think that's a foul on Brandon Williams, to be honest with you. That is a foul on him. Like, Brandon Williams gets the ball. I think that's a foul. I think that's a foul. But Jones, get back to Blackburn. They're going to check this on VAR. I think this is a foul. He's given it. He's bloody given it. They've checked it. There is VAR in the Carabao Cup and they've given it. I can't believe that. Oh, Phil Jones, you've not been rescued by the fact that you got sent back to Blackburn by De Bruyne. And then bloody Pereira can't do anything for us, so he scores. This is getting embarrassing here. United in all sorts of trouble. 3-0 down at half-time. Defending like a bunch of drunk badgers in a sleeping bag. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Oh, God. Well, there's no excuses then. VAR checked that and said it's not a foul. Sean Turner says, I thought you were confident we was going to win. When will you realise that we're rubbish, says Sean Turner. Well, I said that twice. And Edward Walton's, Mark, if we lose 4 or 5, they have to sack Ollie. I mean, this has now become a joke. I thought that was a foul on Brandon Williams, to be honest with you. I've got to be honest. But VAR checks it. So, has Brandon Williams got some sort of thing then? Like, I thought it was a penalty against him against Wolves as well. And then it's not I genuinely thought that was a foul. Oh, for fuck's sake. De Gea's just made a worldie here. What's going on? It should be 4-0. Bernardo Silva should be making it 4-0 here. What's going on? Like, who's marking who? Phil Jones again. Stick with your bloody man, mate. He hasn't got fleas. Bloody go with him. Oh, life. Bernardo Silva, he must think it's his birthday. Kuno says, Ollie is a puppet. There's no much point in Ollie out. Please shout out Glazers out to try and get it trending. Mate, I agree. It's Glazers out. Like, look at the club. It's an embarrassment. This is an embarrassment. Liverpool fan here. How is Ollie an actual football manager, Sonny S? Look, that reflects on the Glazers. Like, they've given the man the job. They've put Michael Carrick in as a coach who was, you know, there's too many jobs for the boys at Manchester United. And it's not just in the coaching, it's in the fitness staff, it's in recruitment. There's too many jobs for the boys. It's an arrogantly run club. They think the status of the club, they think because it's Manchester United, that makes you great. Look at Leicester. They're not a big club, but they're a well-run club. Manchester United have been too arrogant for too long, and now we're just a big club in name. We are not. We're nothing. We're nowhere near where we need to be. This is embarrassing. How can you not react to the fact that they're going to annihilate us at Old Trafford? We're still playing the same bloody formation. Sort the midfield out. They're not playing with a bloody striker. You've got 2 centre-backs with each other. They don't know what they're just... You've got to pull one out. Drop a holding midfielder in. Take Lingard off. Get Matic on and get hold of that midfield because he's useless. He's wasted at this. He's playing in this number 10 role. Number 10 for Manchester United. Bloody hell. It's about as useful as a hot dog at a bloody vegetarian convention. Useless. And they're just absolutely annihilating us at the moment. It's time to even change the score because I've got a very big feeling it's going to be 4-0. Oh, bloody hell. Sterling misses a tap in as well. How is it not 4-0? It's embarrassing. It is embarrassing, this is. Mahrez feeds it into De Bruyne. Cross comes in. He probably would have been offside by his left nut, but he should have scored, Sterling, and it stays there. Lindelof, then Philip, then Andreas. What the hell has happened, says Don Ireland. I don't know. Why didn't we bring in Ancelotti or Luis Enriquez as Jacob? United looking absolutely done here. Matic is putting his coat on. He says, I'm not going on. I've got to change the score. Bloody hell. I predicted United to win 3-0. But what did I say? I said they're going to have to defend well, and then they're going to have to be clinical on the break. We've not even had a break. We've not hit them on the break once. And City come forward again. Morez. Oh, Sterling again. I tell you what. We are very lucky that this is only 3. Very lucky. Sterling literally should have scored 2 in the last 2 minutes. Oh, okay, now. Mike Hawk Small says, how are you still Ollie in? Honest question. Mofus is still wondering how the hell he even got the job. Just because Glazers are clueless doesn't mean Ollie has to go as well. Doesn't mean how Ollie has to stay. Hopefully fans walk out. This is getting embarrassing. This could become worse than 6-1. Embarrassing by Ollie. Change something. Bloody hell. I think the fact that he hasn't changed anything tactically is disgusting, to be honest with you. We could be 6-0 down and he's not changed anything. He's just waiting for half time. I don't know how that's not a foul on Brandon Williams. I mean, to be honest, we deserve to be 3 or 4-0 down, but I don't know how. How does he not give a foul there? I've got to be honest. I mean, City fans will say it's worth it for Phil Jones, but I think Pereira should do better as well. But you can't moan about the Brandon Williams thing because the reality is they should have scored 3 goals after that. And why is Ollie sat there with McKenna going like that? Do something. You can't just keep going. Oh, wow, wow, wow. You've not changed anything from minute 1, mate. You've changed nothing. This is a game of football. Frank Lampard made a sub after half an hour against Arsenal the other week. You can make a bloody change. Do it. Do it. Why are we not making a change? Biggie Third says, do you know how bad a manager you have to be for a team to come to Old Trafford without a striker? Pep has to respect for Solskjaer. And scoreline prediction, I'm going 6-0, says help to get by. Ollie first sub will be on the 70th minute, says Jack Brown 852. I'm literally stunned that he hasn't responded. And this is the problem. I think this is the problem because we've got a manager and a coaching setup are basically, and I say this in total honesty, I've said it when it was going good as well, it was the risk we took. We've got coaches and a manager who are doing the job on a work experience scheme. They just don't know what they're doing. And if things aren't going right for them, they're in trouble. Well, Fred's just gone down someone's ankle here. But then he's gone down injured himself. Because I think he knows he would have been in trouble. I'd like to say I'm shocked, but nothing surprises me with United. And some people would say, to be fair, this season, we've been on the edge of... We've been on the edge of this. This has been coming for a while because I've been saying this for a long time, and that is half time. I've been saying this for a long time. We're a team this season, we don't get beat by 3 or 4 goals, which always gives us a chance in a game. But I mean, you know what? My mate was at Wolves at the weekend, and he said Solskjaer's not the mouthpiece. Carrick, McKenna, and this guy called Dempsey are. And you see Solskjaer there. He hadn't stormed off to the dressing room. You know, Mourinho would have been in the dressing room, to be fair. He hadn't stormed off to the dressing room. He's gone down the steps and then he's waited for Carrick to have a chat with him. Carrick! Like, oh yeah, Michael Carrick's got loads of experience as coaching teams when they're 3-0 down to Man City in a derby. I mean, we desperately need some experience in that club. But look, it's half time. I look forward to seeing that first goal again because that's the only one I'm a little bit unsure about. The second goal was on Lindelof. The third goal is, I think it's a foul on Brandon Williams, but I'm not going to moan about it because they should have had another 2 or 3 after that. De Gea makes a world-class save and Sterling should have scored 2. So we're probably lucky to only be 3-0 down. We have to change Ollie, even though it saddens me in this current situation under Ollie, which player with good ability would want to come to us? Shady Abenaza. He is too nice to make a change. He's scared to hurt Lingy's feelings. And that was from Ciprino. And we have to change. I've read that one. Ryan Locke says, Mark, you want to say it because he's a legend of the club as a player, but that's it. He was a player. You need to agree he needs to go now, as well as the Glazers, but now he must go. The Glazers are the biggest problem at Manchester United, mate. I don't care what anybody... You can all go in on Ollie, and I totally agree with you, and I'm about to go in on him now, but let's not forget, this is 6 years of this, and it's longer, actually, in relation to lack of funding in the club. They make bad appointment after bad appointment. We're in a January transfer window where we should have been signing players anyway, and we're all sat there going, we're probably not going to sign anybody. The club is a joke. It's run from top to bottom like a bloody joke, and that's why I defend Ollie, because I think I'm tired of going, get that manager out and get a new one off, because it lets the real people off the hook. The real people who are causing this are the coaching, are the recruitment, are the fitness department, are Woodward, are the board, are Glazers, are the players. This is top to bottom. New manager doesn't change it. Southampton lost 9-0 at home this season if we ain't careful, says Jordan Such. Can't really race a Ferrari against a Fiat and blame the mechanic. This squad needs major investment. Let's hope this is a wake-up call upstairs, says Strutson. It won't be. The mystery man, Maguire injured in a game he shouldn't have been playing, and Lingard and Jones playing in a game they have no business being near. Tactically devoid. Players playing on instinct. Zero tactics, says the mystery man. Jerry J, let this scoreline get really ugly. We need a catalyst for big change to happen, says Jerry J. Gunner Station says, in fairness to you, Mark, I thought United would turn up tonight for a semi-final and after the recent plays against Arsenal and Wolves. Surely Ollie can't stay much longer. Clueless. Lingard is a fraud. TJ Smith, when you're losing and it's not working, you change something. I agree with that. And Kean Brady says, guarantee that idiot keeps the same team in the second half. And Dipan Bezwas says, Pep is playing 4 defenders, 2 midfielders, 2 false nines, 2 wingers. What formation is that? In a very simple term, when the team sheet came out, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should have had a big wake-up call, because he should have realised that they're not playing a number 9. And if they're not playing a number 9, your 2 centre-backs have got to be intelligent. The first goal, Bernardo Silva's playing as the false 9. If Bernardo Silva drops into the midfield, or De Bruyne stops into the midfield, you've got 2 holding midfielders with United, Fred and Pereira. But they've got 4 midfielders because they're dropping Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne, and they've got Rodrigo and Gundogan. So they're getting swamped. So on the first goal, the reason Bernardo Silva gets space to shoot is because there's too many players for the midfielders to mark, and one of the centre-backs is not coming out. So what I would have done, I probably would have done it from kick-off, but I would have done it after the first goal, seen why what they're doing, and you've got to make a change. So Lingard in this number 10 position is not working because we're not attacking. So he's redundant. You keep your front 3. You keep Greenwood, Rashford, and Silva for the Dan James for the break. But we're also playing with Lingard as an attacking midfielder. We're not attacking. So Lingard needs to come off. You bring Matic on. You get Matic to hold the midfield, and you get Fred and Pereira in there, and you play a midfield 3. Or you drop Lingard in, you get Fred to hold it till half time. But you don't keep playing with 3 up front and an attacking midfielder and leave your 2 midfielders against 4 midfielders. That should have been done as a priority after the first goal, maybe even from minute 1. And yet, we've gone through the second half and carried on with exactly the same formation we started with and probably were planning to do yesterday, despite the fact Pep's not playing with a bloody striker and he's dropping in and swamping the midfield. And we've not responded to that. And how? How can I see that and you see that and the whole world see that, but well-paid coaches of Manchester United persist with the same formation? And let's have it. I think that's a foul on Brandon Williams on the third goal, but let's have it properly. Would you argue if we were 5-0 down at half-time? Because Sterling misses 2 sitters and De Gea makes a brilliant save from Bernardo Silva. So we're probably lucky to only be 3-0 down. The fact that we've not tactically changed in 45 minutes against that is a disgrace. And it's a massive, massive disgrace. And the club, from top to bottom, is a disgrace because they're allowing this to happen year after year. It's a joke. I was Ollie in, but I'm Ollie out. I don't even blame him. I hope he quits after the game and tells us about the board, says Liam Thompson. Jeremy Clarkson, doubt it's 3-1. Doesn't matter what players manager we bring in, it won't change. Need to stop the morale crap. Bring in Arab money. I want my United back. Lots of comments. Wenger's available, says Highbury. No thanks. Stuart Wallace, this was a ticking time bomb. It was only a matter of time before a proper manager put the sword to Ollie's coaching ability. Ollie isn't capable of plan B. I mean, how embarrassing is that game going to be at the Etihad now? I mean, for God's sake, it's over. It's bloody over, isn't it? It is over. We're not going to go to the Etihad and have a bloody chance. I mean, I think for me, second half is about damage limitation. Take 3-0. I can't see us getting back into that game. Lindelof is one of my favourite players, but today's been useless. What's going on, says SJ. Look, I want to see this first goal. I missed the first goal. The second goal was all on Lindelof. I don't need to say anything about that. Ollie was served by his own medicine. This is shambolic. I'm up at 2 a.m. to watch this crap. Sack Ollie now, says Iron. Shavim says there was no chance we were going to win the game because we always just had one plan. Pep is smart enough to figure it out. It wasn't a foul on Williams. Manchester United, Ollie is a dope. Tell me how to end with this mope. AJ Sin, watch the transfer headlines. Man United signed Maddison in January to distract us from this awful performance. It's embarrassing. Same Miasi, schooled by Pep's Padawan and now the Jedi Master Pep. London is red. Ugh. Michael Mayerstar, nothing Ollie can do. We're getting absolutely destroyed in the midfield, but Mata and Matic aren't going to change the game. We need midfielders in January. I disagree with you, Michael. I disagree with you. You've got 2 holding midfielders against 4 midfielders. It's simple, quick maths. Get another midfielder in there. And he hasn't. He's kept... And I tell you what, we haven't even mentioned it. He has got to take total and utter responsibility for picking Jesse Lingard again. You're basically putting us down to 10 men every single game. Why is he starting tonight? He's been persistently awful for over 12 months, and you're picking him against one of the best teams in Europe. You could smack Ollie in the face and he wouldn't react. The border of disgrace, but this is on him. Get someone in who can manage our team fully fit. Top 4, says Buster Nuts. She Infinity says Asprey to Man City. It's easy. New owners, new board, new coaching staff, winning philosophy, 3 midfielders and a right winger. Same problem for 7 years. Red Baron, we have the money, just want the right players, says X. Roll up, please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. I think fan cams tonight are going to be very, 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 very interesting, aren't they? Very interesting indeed, because, apparently you can't have an opinion that's negative, but I tell you what, that is not good enough from Manchester United tonight. And, people want to cause division in the fan base. I keep saying this. Why are you attacking fans? Why are you attacking fans when the real issue is the way our football club's being run? We're getting our arse handed on a plate to us by Manchester City, who didn't even exist 10 years ago, and people are arguing amongst themselves. I don't, if you're Ollie in, fine. Be Ollie in. But this community is very, very angry with the way the club's being run. There's no issue with that. Paul, what do you have to say, mate?
Hello, mate. Pretty much what you've said, to be honest. I'm bored of saying it, Mark. I'm bored of saying how tactically inept Ollie is, how his lack of action when he's watching a game that we can see needs changing. That he does nothing. He sits there and everybody around him shouting and he just rests his chin on his shoulder staring. He just looks as lost as I think he is. I mean, Pep Guardiola's flooded the midfield, didn't play a number 9, knew what he was doing. Do you know what he's doing to us? He's counter-attacking with the midfield. He's sitting a line in front of our midfield. He's waiting for us to attack and push too many people forward. They rob the ball and they counter-attack us because we're leaving so much space. Phil Jones is a joke.
But to be fair, Lindelof's had to be honest, Phil Jones has been terrible. Yeah, Lindelof's not been any good either, has he? It's the perfect storm.
Yeah, I can't say that. No, it's true. I can't single out Phil Jones. I can't single out any player because they haven't been given the tools to succeed. It's cowardly football. It's awful football.
It's basic pub football tactics.
It's cowardly. Let them play their game. Let them dominate us. And when they make a mistake, what we'll try and do is we'll try and run faster than them. Because we've got really quick players. What the is that? You've got to come up with something different. You've got to go, right, Man City are probably going to tweak this, which they have because Pep's not an idiot. So what we'll do, we'll change it tactically somehow so we can work spaces and then we're able to get chances on goal. Ollie's just gone in with the same crap he always uses with, we'll try and counter-attack as quick as we can, as fast as we can, guys. When we get a chance, run towards the goal. I don't care what you do, just score. It's clueless. There's no tactics to it. What would you put your finger on is our tactics tonight, Mark? What's working? Who's playing well, and are they being given a chance to play well? Because I'm just bored of this.
at this juncture, I can't wait to see the fan cams after the match because I think
they're going to be lit.
Yeah, well, not just for that. I just want to see what the people in the ground who are paying the money think. I think the community that we have are very intelligent. You know, I can't read everything out, but I do. You see it subconsciously, and everybody's pretty much on the same page. We're not. Some people will have their badges, but a lot of us don't. We just watch football. We just love Manchester United, and I said it before the game. Like, we've been saying it for weeks. And people who love Ollie, and I love Ollie, you know, we all want to believe something else, but this has been said consistently for weeks. He hasn't got a plan. His plan is sit back and hit a team on the break. And we're very good when people let us do that, but eventually it's such a basic tactic, somebody will go, you know what, we can attack them and not get caught on the break. And the way to do that is not to play with a number 9, because you absolutely, this is the how to beat a team that counterattacks you. And Pepper's, I've got to give him a tick and say he's done it brilliantly, because he's absolutely screwed us over. He's deprived Lingard. He's played a high line, high enough that we can't get the ball over the top. He's deprived Lingard of space and Greenwood of space, and then he's swamped Pereira and Fred by not playing with a number 9. And they've done their normal pass. They've done so many 1-2s, and City don't do that a lot. They've done 1-2s. He's just absolutely done a job on us. And unfortunately, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a one-trick pony as a manager. He can only counter-attack. And we've known this for a long time. But the big thing for me, Paul, was to pick Lingard tonight was inexcusable. He had to score a hat-trick tonight to justify it. He's not. He's been as bad as ever. And then on top of that, to not change it tactically. And basically, I don't know what you think and everyone else, I think we're lucky not to be 5-0 down. But to sit back and watch that for 45 minutes and not make a change tactically and allow your midfield to get swamped with a redundant number 10, I think it just displays the whole coaching staff. Because even if you're Carrick or McKenna, you could put your hand up and say, this needs to happen. Nobody is. They're all sat there collectively. And I think it's a massive wake-up call of how Manchester United are a big club, but behind that big club, we're a little club with a little mentality.
Yeah, I'm trying to separate the Glazers from Ollie to, you know, the problems with recruitment. I'm trying to boil it down to this game and with Ollie and the coaching staff and the players, because we know the problems with the Glazers, we know the problems with Ed Woodward, we know the squad's not good enough. And to be honest, if you try and take the anger and the emotion out of it, we're getting beaten by one of the top 5 teams in Europe, headed by the best coach in the world, probably. One of
that can't be an
anyway.
excuse, though, can it? That can't be an excuse in a derby.
I'm trying to put it. Yeah. I'm trying to put it in perspective, though, Mark. In terms of, you know, I'm angry. We're getting smashed, but we're getting smashed by a very good team. We're weak. We've got not a second string team out there, but we've got players out there we know aren't good enough. But what you do is you try and work to you go out with a certain, you know, with a tactical approach, knowing the team you're going to put out, and think, right, we'll work around this. We don't just put 11 players on the pitch, whoever they are, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether they're quick, slow, whether they work together, inexperienced or experienced. We're just going to play exactly the same way, guys. Exactly the same way.
Well, he might not change it in the second half.
Our right-hand side is dead.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, our right-hand side, Aaron Wan-Bissaka never attacks, never overlaps Daniel James.
Matic is on.
Ever. Matic is on.
See, that should have happened after 10 bloody minutes. It took Lingard off.
See it. Absolutely.
That's bottling.
If it gets any worse, the next game's going to be a funeral march, Mark. Can you imagine going to the Etihad if we're 5-0 down? We need to show some courage here. We need to show some real drive. We need to be able to get after him. Why did we press for 10 minutes and then stop?
Yeah.
When it was working. There's too much to talk about, mate, at half time, definitely. But
I'll get you on for the last 15, I think.
Yeah, we need to show some drive, mate. We need to show some courage. We need to step it up, get at them. Otherwise, it's just not good enough, is it? So I'll see you after.
Yeah, I'll get you on for the last 15, mate.
Laters.
Cheers, Paul. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. Lots of people watching. We've got fan cams after the game, my match reaction after the game. We are live for the second half talking about the game as well. Match reaction, fan cams, live every night, transfer news, phone-ins, the lot. Subscribe if you're new. Lots going on around Manchester United at the moment, and we want your opinions, of course. Matic is coming on. This should have happened. Jesse Lingard coming off. This is a disgrace. This is about preserving and not embarrassing a player that's not good enough for United. Lampard, Mourinho, Pep would have done this after 20 minutes. He should have done this after 20 minutes. After the first goal, he should have done this. He's waited at half-time to not embarrass Jesse Lingard. He shouldn't have started him. He definitely should have done that way before now. This is Manchester United Football Club. Screw, relationships and friendships. You've got to be ruthless. And he should have done that. He should have done... This was the change to make. I said exactly this. And, people won't listen to fans. I said exactly this, and many of you did. What would you do at this point? Get Matic or put Fred holding the midfield and make Fred and Pereira box to box so that you're not getting swamped in the midfield. We're going to do exactly that now. He should have done it after 15 minutes. Pereira awful as well on the second goal. He's not good enough defensively, says Edvin Lundstrom. Well, we thought that. United supporters, is Arsenal back? We have risen from the ashes. Long live Arsenal. Manchester is blue, says Amy. He's just a dodgy Arsenal fan. Don't worry about him. What will annoy me more is not the fact we'll lose the tie or haven't made any signings. It's that he will be there smiling, saying everything is fine. Well, I do think what Paul said there resonated. I think after the game, the club may well go with that angle of, well, Man City are one of the best teams in the league. We just got beaten by a better team. That's not an excuse in a Manchester derby. If this was bloody Chelsea, prime Chelsea, then you'd go, well, London club, not much of a, there's not much of a rival. Well, there is a rivalry, but this is a Manchester derby at Old Trafford. You can't be saying, oh, they're one of the best teams in the world, because derbies are always a great leveller. I mean, I remember I remember City coming to United when it was prime United, and they had midfielders with people like Nigel Clough and Rosler and people like that in it, and they still gave us a game. The Bucknut fan, I'm a United fan through and through, was about to tune into the game, just got off work, haven't even watched 1 minute, and it sounds like an embarrassing performance. Thanks for saving my time, Mark. And welcome to H-Boss, the latest member of the United Stand Members Club. King's Pidge says, upset watching this club fall apart since Glazers took over. Can't believe I go into games wondering how much we will lose by. Ollie can't handle the job. It's too big a job for Ollie. You're absolutely spot on. It is too big a job for him. Red Baron, other teams have facts and hardcore tactical analysis, while we have hope and go out there, lads, and play whatever you want. And Norwegian Collector, Ollie isn't even the best coach in Norway. Mulder is the Man City of Norwegian football in terms of financials and won the league comfortable without him. That's interesting, isn't it? Look, United have made a bloody big mistake. You can go in on Ollie all you like, but the fact is this club is run shit. It's absolutely run terribly. It's an embarrassment. But he actually has, I've got to say, if you're scratching around for positives, he actually has made the right tactical decision now. We have got 3 in the midfield. I mean, how he didn't do that. I mean, why are we as fans shouting out, get a midfielder on, take Lingard off after 5 minutes? 15 minutes. And he waits till half time because he wants to spare Lingard's blushes. It's not. This is football. We could have made this change at 1-0 and maybe got back into it, and the tie wasn't done. I agree about the Glazers, but Ollie is hurting your club more right now. I ain't got a clue, mate, says Varanchuchia. Vin Bra says the club is an absolute disgrace. No player we buy is going to fix anything, not even worth talking about the players we need to buy. Glazers need to go. And Vince's viewpoint, Glazers need to invest in this team. Season 19-20, 145,000. Season 18-19, 67. And 17-18, 146 million. But that's not net spends, is it? Look, United have made a change. I do think this second half for me is about damage limitation. If we can get 1 back, at least it gives us something to go to the Etihad with. If we can get 2 back, maybe. But it's an embarrassing performance. I mean, McTominay's on crutches there. I don't think McTominay makes a difference. This has been a tactical demolition of Manchester United. It's not about individual players like somebody said there. It's been a tactical demolition. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner. Who knows what January holds, but I don't think it holds a Carabao Cup final, does it? Sorry, Bryce Jones. There's been a few flying boo. I was bound to miss a few, unfortunately. Well, City are on the attack here again. I mean, Lindelof looks... Oh, God. Fred's all over the shop. Kyle Walker blocked. We're just not picking up our men. We're not marking our men. Apparently Lingard hired Raiola because we offered him for Maddison and 50 million. Your thoughts, Mark, if it's true, says Rudy Cox. Well, if that's Lingard's reaction to being offered as part of a transfer deal, then, you know, if he's hurt by that, then maybe react and do what Ollie's done for you. I mean, you've been given more chances than you deserve. Maybe bloody get knuckle down and reward those chances rather than, you know, going and recruiting the most hated agent of the club. I think Lingard's had more chances than he deserves, and I think Ollie on that front has been naive to how many chances he's given him, but he's given him a lot of chances, and Lingard should be loyal to that. But, you know, Lingard should be sold. If we can get money for him, let him go. He's had his chance. He's had more than enough chances. I don't think he's good enough anyway. Pep's talk about Man United being a world-class counter-attacking side was bait for his tactic. Ollie fell for it totally, says Andrew Riley. Shady Abanasa, it's not about saving the season anymore. It's about saving the reputation of the club. Who would want to come to United now? We're heading into worse times. Well, the worrying thing is, if you've got a coaching setup and a team that's not very appealing to signings, and then you've got a recruitment department that's shit at recruitment, it's very hard to sign players. Goal kick. Serious question, do you think Poch would want to come to United if Woodward and Glazers are still here? P.S. When Matic is the plan B in 2010, rest in peace. I think if United change it, then you can attract players again. But what about Lingard's confidence, says the contrarian? I'm actually surprised by this score tonight. I'm surprised. I didn't expect this. I predicted a win because I think I naively thought that United would win. Right, I'm just going to have a quick look on Instagram because I've put it on the top line of the video description. If you are on Instagram and you go to our stories section, you can see our uploads of Flex there at Old Trafford. I wanted to see some of his reactions. I can't get on it at the moment. Well, I don't know what to say, and I don't normally have that problem, but I think the first half was, you got lost in the tragic moments of being, you know, maybe we should be 5-0 down. We're 3-0 down. I think this tie is over. I'm just really disappointed because I think at 1-0 he should have took Lingard off and brought Matic on. I don't think City are gonna look to beat us 5 or 6-0. I think they're just gonna game manage it. You see that a lot when a team's like comfortably in front at half time. They just game manage it. But I don't see how we can get back in this now. I think Brandon Williams has had a hard game for him tonight. But he's a young lad. He will do that. And I've got to say, I said it before the game. We go live an hour before kick-off with the team news and we talk for an hour. I've got to say that Ismail says boycott Old Trafford. It's the only tool left, I think. I've got to say that I said it before the game that playing Phil Jones next to Brandon Williams was ridiculous. Lindelof is the better centre back. Put him with the young lad to nurture him, and Wan-Bissaka's a very good right back. Put him next to Phil Jones to help him out, but don't put them both together. I think it was a recipe for disaster. And Man City have not gone down Wan-Bissaka's side at all. It's been all down the left. Welcome to King's Pride, the latest member of the United Stand Members Club, and Sartek Batra. Thanks for joining. It's sad, but Ollie and co will still try to justify this performance. It's embarrassing, says Cohen Burke. I think he'll struggle. I'm not going to shout out political messages, Zayn Miassi. He says up the Arsenal, which may mean he supports Arsenal, or it may say something about, you know, his private life. I don't know. He's also a Tory. That I'll give you a little bit of a hint there. Do you blame Pogba for wanting out, says Vince's viewpoint? If you were Pogba, would you stay? The Muppet Show. Mate, you're talking to the wrong person there, because if you watch this channel, you'll know what I said about Pogba in the summer, and you'll know what I've said about Pogba all season. I haven't got a problem with Paul Pogba wanting to leave United. We should have sold him. It's funny, I was having my hair cut today and was talking about it with the hairdresser, and I said United should have sold Pogba in the summer, and oh my life, Brandon Williams got away with one there. Because the thing about Brandon Williams is, if this was Luke Shaw tonight, people would be tearing him apart. He's just megged him. Just made him look an idiot. And it probably should have been a foul on Mahrez. He's absolutely made him look stupid. Darshin Singhu says Pep got it spot on. He knew United hardly conceded goals from a number 9 off top 6 teams, so went without one. Our academy players play better than the squad. Lindelof has been poor. Phil Jones been himself, says Jenks1106. I think actually Lindelof may have had a worse game than Jones, that's some achievement. Our squad is average, our manager is below average, says Crunch Time. And City coming forward again. Have we had a shot? I'm scared to say this. Have we had a shot on target? Have we had a shot on target? Because I don't, maybe in my haze of depression, I might have missed out on that, but let me tell you the stats. We have had a shot on target, and to be fair, City have only had 3. They've scored with all of them. I think the shot on target was that little P-roller from Brandon Williams at the start of the second half, actually. Yeah, that's what Big Bard says as well. Salah says, yeah, it was that Brandon Williams pass counts as a shot. So, in a game and a half, we've had a pass back to the goalkeeper as a shot on target. Jesus. Well, do I think Ollie will be sacked after this? No. Does anybody think that's going to happen? I mean, look, you can say you think it wants to happen. It's justifiable, but I don't think anybody expects it to happen. And I've said this as well. What's the next game for United? Norwich. It's the perfect paper in the crack game, isn't it? Beat Norwich, probably beat Wolves in the FA Cup, get done over by Liverpool, beat Burnley, get done over by City again. He's here, it's February, Europa League, I can see him surviving. And Rohit Damadapati says, I have been Ollieing for a while, but come on, his team isn't compact at all, even for a bunch of runners, and the coaching staff is very inexperienced. Gavril F says, you should get verified on Instagram. There's a few impersonations on there. I don't know how you do it, mate. They can't impersonate me, because I do my own stories. But top line of the video, of the link in the video description to follow us on Instagram. Flex has got all like uploads from Old Trafford and stuff. United are just hitting long balls here at the moment. Thanks for everyone tuning in tonight. I know it's a bit of a therapy session for United fans, and I'm sure there's a few tuning in just to laugh at us. But the thing that bothers me about rival fans now is it's beyond banter. It's almost sympathy. I get people like Liverpool fans and Arsenal fans saying, you know what, it was funny for a bit, but football's better if United are in the Champions League and competing. I've had Liverpool fans saying, yeah, we're going to win the league, but really, we want to be winning the league when we're going up against a good United side. I mean, it's just sympathy from rivals now, that is the worst. That's when you know you're really in trouble. Stuart Wallace says, think it's even worth bringing Martial on and going for this, or just accept it and move on and wait for the next disappointment. I would not bring Martial on in this game. Never in a million years. What's the point? He's not well. He's not fully fit. The game's gone. Just don't bother. If we can get one back, maybe. Jedi Master Tom says, glory days are over, Mark. It's going to take many years, and the Glazers leaving before this gets any better for United. Well, I said it after the Wolves game. It was during the Wolves game on the Wolves watch-along. Somebody said, how long do you think? And I said 6 years, and people were getting really upset by that. But we're in... I said this 3 months ago, and it's got worse. We are in the worst position we've ever been in the Premier League era, and it's getting worse. It's not getting better. I've also said that people think, oh, when's it going to get better? It can get worse, and I feel like it is getting worse at the moment. So we've never been in such a bad situation. So it can get worse before it gets better, and I think we're 6 years off. I really do. I just hope we can keep it to 3. I mean, 3 or 4, it's over anyway, isn't it? But I'd love us to get a couple of goals and, make that Etihad game a little bit worth it. I mean, we were lucky there that there was an offside on Sterling. Do you think City, Chris Wilder would be good for United, says Ryan Foster? No. None of that. Zayn Miasi says, mate, I heard Trump's a United supporter. Maybe he could take out the enemy for you. You're getting political, Zayn. Still 3-0. Get Rashford off. He's having a shock. Terrible Sean Turner. I tell you what, Sean, and everybody else, I'd not even... there's some players that you haven't noticed for United tonight, and there's some that we have, and there's some that we've noticed for bad performances. I don't think anybody in that United team's coming out with any glory. I mean, to me, De Gea made a world-class save. I don't think Wan-Bissaka's done a lot wrong, but there'll be a yellow card here for a foul on Pereira. But Rashford's done nothing, but he's got an opportunity from a free kick here. He'll definitely pull rank. At this point, there's no reason not to give Gomez some game time, says Stego. Yeah, but to be honest with you, I don't think the game suits Gomez, because Gomez is an attacking midfielder, and we just took Lingard off because he's totally redundant. We need 3 midfielders, which is why we've got Matic and Fred and Pereira on. So we've got a free kick from here. I mean, look, this is a shot for nothing. This is a chance to, to get a bit of momentum back in the game. 3-1, we still can't do that at the Etihad, but 3-0 we can't. That's the biggest difference between old current United. If we go behind now, we are toast. We used to feel like we had a chance even at 3-0 down. That's from Stuart Wallace. So Rashford on a free kick. I think he has improved his free kick technique. I'm giving him the kiss of death, aren't I? He needs to hit this like Beckham, not like Ronaldo. He needs to get some whip on this. Nope. He does hit a ball nicely, Rashford, but he hits it like a balloon. It goes too high. So Gomez is coming on. There you go. Gomez is coming on. That's interesting with half an hour to go. Mark, would you take getting relegated if it meant the Glazers would sell, or continue this for 10 years? Food for thought, says Buckner. I'd get relegated for a year. I'd go down for a year if we're going to have this for 10 years, or get relegated and get rid of the Glazers. I'd get rid of the Great Glazers. Of course I would, because it'd be 1 year of pain. We'd get straight back in and we'd have different owners. I'd take 1 year rather than 10 years of this. I know some people would disagree. Goals make no difference, Mark. Away goals don't count, says Mike Cass. Well, they do. No, they do make a bloody difference. I'm saying I'd rather lose 3-1 than 3-0, because then we've only got to get 2 at the Etihad. So Gomez has come on for Chong. For James. There's trouble here. If they time that pass right, Lindelof up against Sterling into the box. Lots of players back for United. Oh, what was that? So Gomez will play off the right now. But it was nice to see Gomez. We forgot what he was all about. James has been shocking today, says Aaron. I don't think James has been good for 6 weeks. And it's interesting because Dan James did an interview with United and he said he was quite surprised himself by how much game time he's been given. I never expected Dan James to be a first teamer when we bought him. Like a £15 million player from the Championship is suddenly a first team player for United. He was potential that was meant to be brought in to be given time off the bench and grow. And we've chucked him straight in as a first team player, and I think he's suffering from burnout. It's a big step up with a big expectation, and he can't expect that consistency. Brandon Williams is being 2v1'd a lot. He can't mark two players. He's got Mahrez there, and then he's got Kyle Walker running against him. Well done, Ollie out. All games to play Gomez, you throw him in when we're getting pumped 3-0 to City, says Dazo. It's quite an interesting point, to be fair. Rashford's been shocking as well. United on the attack, though. I mean, look, you have got to say that whilst we've been poor defensively, we've not been very good on the ball either. And that's an offside. What is Phil Jones doing there? That's embarrassing. Well, at least if they don't score in the second half, Ollie can say got a draw in the second half. I think Ollie has gone to a 4-4-2 diamond, says Sean Atwood. Asset Prada says, would you take this result and a surprise turnaround in the second leg like the PSG game? I feel like that would cause long-term damage to the club. As it, you're dreaming, mate. There's no way we're turning this round at the Etihad. We're 3-0 down. We're not turning this around at the Etihad. Brandon Williams there. He's got away with it. I've got to put my hands up, and I think you've always got to be even-handed. And I think Brandon Williams has got a really good future at United, but I don't think he's had a good game tonight. And I know we've got to protect young players, and I certainly won't be giving him 2 out of 10 or anything like that, but I don't think he's had a very good night tonight. He's come up against real quality, and it's been a bit of a wake-up call that, you know, he's still a young player developing. And you could say the same about Greenwood as well. You know, another very good young talent at the club, but he's struggled today. But this is why, and I'm going to mention this in my match reaction, this is exactly why Gary Neville and everybody said when we came into the team, you've got absolute leaders like Roy Keane and Cantona to nurture you. These young players, when they're having a bad game, they need decent players around them, experienced players around them to carry them, and they haven't got that. Always been positive, but just took a moment and realised how shit we are, says Russell Thompson. I don't think any of this team would get on the bench 10 years ago. Sad times. Our passing's been really poor tonight as well. And that you can't have that against Man City. Disappointing, isn't it? Disappointing when, you know, you're in a cup, you get to a semi-final, it's a 2-leg semi-final, and I wish it wasn't. I wish we were just out, because having to go to the Etihad and when you've been humiliated at Old Trafford and just go through the motions. Oh dear. They're up against Williams again. Mahrez. He's done him. Great save by De Gea. See, he just skips past Williams there, and it's a good save. I mean, De Gea's made 2 good saves tonight. Neil Jones says that the Glazers, Ed Woodward, Gary Neville are a cult, and they need riding out of the club. I don't think Gary Neville's got anything to do with the Glazers and Ed Woodward, to be honest. He has been a bit vocal about them in the past. This should be a goal. Yes, good goal as well. Marcus Rashford gets one back. We've got one back, and it was that's what United are good at. That is what United are good at. We are on the break. Greenwood, it's a mistake by De Bruyne. Gomez nips in, and then we're running 3v2 at their back. Greenwood, lovely weighted pass into Rashford, who slots it away lovely. That's what we can do. That's what we can do on the break. But unfortunately, this is the only tactic we have, to wait for a Manchester City mistake and then hit them on the break. I mean, it gives us something. Can we go and get another one? Just make the second leg interesting, please. Good finish by Rashford. Very poor game by Rashford, but it just shows you that, you know, give him a chance and he can do bits. But to me, that was all about Gomez and Greenwood. Great interception by Gomez. Greenwood, perfectly weighted pass, and Rashford's just got to pass it into the bottom corner. 3-1 to United. 3-1 to City, sorry. I'm getting really excited now. That was a lot like the Etihad, that was. Where... Oh, who are we marking here? Where's the bloody defence? Oh, wow. Good save by De Gea again. But where's the defence? There, you get back into it and then they all go asleep. Do you think Ollie can still say that this midfield is good enough and players like Matic are enough to cover McTominay? Well, he will say it, but they're not. We get another goal, Mohamed. At least we've got something to... What's Ollie doing now, talking about tactics? Come on. What does that mean? Push up? He's got it. To be honest, though, maybe chuck Martial on now, because if you get 3-2, you win at the Etihad. It's level, isn't it? So this is really important. De Gea's got to be off his line there. He is. Well, United have got something to go for here. Can we get something? Can we do it? There 20 minutes to go. Stephen Wright says, if this did finish 3-3, what do you think people would say about Ollie then? Look, mate, I never say never. Never say never, because United were 2-0 down at the Etihad and won 3-2. You never know. I think we do know, but you never know. Oh, dear. Brandon Williams has been booked. He is a player that picks up a lot of bookings. Please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Bottom right hand corner. We've got fan cams coming up afterwards, so make sure you subscribe for your notifications when they go up. I'm doing a match reaction afterwards as well. We're live every night at 8 o'clock. We've got transfer daily, previews, call-ins, the lot. So get involved with the United stand. We need each other in these confusing and frustrating times. I wouldn't say confusing, really, actually. It's pretty easy to see. But Man City, a little bit guilty of foot off the pedal, complacency. And as we know, United on the break. We are a good team on the break. I'm not going to deny that. But City are probably going to be kicking themselves that one's gone in. I'd just like to see us have a bit of pressure. You know, 3-1 at home, 20 minutes to go. 3-2 is a good result. But that goal came from a Man City mistake. So, you know, when are we going to start getting into the game a bit? Lindelof's got to go and attack that there. City's press again. Oh, he's giving a foul. Giving a foul. 15 minutes to go. He's got to push for this now. 15 to go. In fact, I'm going to tweet that. He's got to go for it now. There's no point. I think 3-1 and we're out anyway, so you've got to push for it. You've got to have a go. That guy Gix says the only reason we scored is because City is on cruise control. Ollie is done out here. Ollie out. Kareem Dawesh says, Mark, do you microanalyze Williams because you like Shaw so much? No, I like Brandon Williams. Everyone knows I like Brandon Williams, but he hasn't had a good game tonight, and I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Good tackle by Lindelof. Goldbridge in, Ollie out. Club legend for club realist. Goldbridge for manager. Great opinions in commentary, says Damien Wyatt. Well, thanks everyone for joining in. I feed off a lot of what you lot say anyway, but I think tactically tonight, many of you have seen what we've been discussing anyway, that it's just not been good enough from Manchester United tactically, and that is a real shame. I mean, Pep's shouting at his players out there, and I don't think everybody has to do that, but I think it would have been nice to see Ollie do that a little bit more in his time as manager. Not that I'm saying that his time is coming to an end. I don't think it is, even though many people think it should. But I think United have got to find a way here, and I don't know whether I don't think he's going to bring Martial on, is the honest answer. I don't think he will, but we need a goal. Take 3-2 to the Etihad. It's hard, but I think take 3-1 to the Etihad, and it's not going to happen. They will score there. So, you've got to go and beat them 2-1. He's just sat there and he doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. And I don't know whether they just wait to pan the camera on him when that happens, but he doesn't look like he knows what he's doing, and that is a real problem as a United manager. And I think City have done exactly what a lot of teams do when they're 3-0 up at half time. They take their foot off the pedal. Oh, bad injury here. Mike Dean saying get on quickly. De Bruyne. Well, Pep's more interested in talking about tactics than what's happened with De Bruyne, who I think he's up on his feet now. Hopefully. Got about 10 minutes to go. Bit of a break in the play here. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think looking at that Bernardo Silva goal again, they've just shown it. Phil Jones has got to come out there. He's the centre-back. He's got to come out. Hard to watch. Hard to watch. Christopher Liu says, I thought we played well. It was a great game between two good teams. Just brace yourself for post-press, Mark. Yeah, I'm lucky I do the match reaction before I see Ollie's reaction. What do you think Sir Alex Ferguson thinks of Ollie's coaching? Says, I'm a daft child. Paul, what do you think Sir Alex Ferguson thinks of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's posting? I'll let you have that one.
That's a difficult one, mate. I think Alex Ferguson loves Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yeah, me too.
And loves everything he stands for, because Alex Ferguson knows that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer loves Manchester United Football Club and only wants the best for them. compared to what we had before, which was Jose United. So we all feel the same as Ollie. We all want the best for what the for the football club. And is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the best? And is he going to take us forward? Many people have got lots of different opinions. I personally don't think, for quite a few reasons, Ollie is the man to take us forward for the next 5 years and get us pushing for titles. And these kinds of games prove that, unfortunately. But other people are the other way. They think Ollie's got something here and he can work on it. But as for everybody's personal opinion, but as for Sir Alex Ferguson, if he's watching this, who knows what he would think.
Well, he is, because he's in the stadium. But I think it's been a funny second half, hasn't it? Because I think that what we've seen is we've seen exactly what United are all about. I mean, Man City have basically dropped a couple of gears, and then United score a goal in the only way they can score a goal, where they end up hitting them on the break because of a mistake from Man City. I mean, it doesn't teach us anything. We know we can do that. That's basically how we've won games this season, where teams make mistakes and then we hit them quickly on the break. I mean, it was an absolutely vintage 2019-2020 season goal from United. Man City lose possession, we're running at them 3v2 and we score. And he is bringing Martial on for the last 10 minutes, which I think is the right thing to do, I've got to say. I think, 3-1, I think this game's over. 3-2, it's probably over, but you give yourself a chance. So I think he's right to do that.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about the second leg because we were playing so bad.
Yeah.
It just wiped my memory completely.
Well, we don't deserve to be 3-2. We don't deserve 3-2.
No,
this is not
but
3-2.
if we can nick a goal.
Yeah.
It isn't. And if we lose 3-2, I would not have a different opinion as if we lost 3-0 because of the performance that we put in. And as you say, the goals that we know we can score, they don't teach us anything. So, but if we go into the second leg at 3-2, Mark, it just gives them something to think about. It gives us something to latch onto, and you wouldn't put it past us. You really wouldn't. 3-1, different story. But yeah, Martial on. If we can nick another goal, which we don't deserve, then who knows in the second leg? And I don't want to go into the second leg as like a funeral procession.
No,
I want to go in with a little bit of hope. So if we get another goal from and Martial nicks it, then game on.
If Mike Dean wants to get the ball and just throw it in the net and award as a goal, I'll take it. Yeah, because I just want the second leg, which we've got to fulfil, to have something in it. And I think 3-1, it's over. The nature of the beast, the nature of the result will mean it's over. Because we should have lost maybe 4 or 5-1, really. I mean, Man City, the chances in the first half, but 3-2 would be a smash and grab. But I would definitely take it just to make that second leg entertaining.
Yeah, to give us hope. I want to watch a game of football where I think we can pull it back and get a result and go through to the final, the Carabao Cup, which is kind of a big deal because I don't think we're going to get very near many finals this year. The Europa League.
Yeah, that's the best chance.
The way we're playing, it is the best chance. But some of the teams that have come down from Champions League, Mark, it's going to be a tough route. Not like when we won it. It's going to be difficult.
Well, Ajax are in it as well, I think, aren't they? I think Ajax
yes,
might drop
Inter Milan. You can see Lukaku, smashing a hat trick against us just to rub it in. But I think this is quite an important cup for us. If we can get a trophy, if Ollie can get a trophy, he thinks in his head if he can get a trophy, his job's safe, which it probably is anyway. But who doesn't want to be in a final? I do. I want United to pull this out of the bag, which is why I'm so disappointed in this performance.
Yeah. Ricardo Mitchell says, not United fan, but love the channel. United have made City look so good in a season where they've been at 85%. Poor management, coaching and board. Sad to see United should be fighting for titles, not fourth. Mate, we're not even fighting for fourth. Yeah, we're not fighting for fourth. That's the thing. This, to me, watching this game today, reminds me of Burnley playing Man City at Turf Moor. Where City have won the game at half-time. They're going through the motions in the second half. They've been a bit complacent, and Burnley have scored a goal on the break. There's nothing about United today to be excited about or positive about. I think even our positive players haven't done anything. So yeah, it's not been good. There's very few. I think the two players that stand out for me are David De Gea, because he made 2 really good saves and he's not at fault for any of the goals. And I know it's fashionable to go in on De Gea at the moment, but actually tonight he's made 2 world-class saves. And Wan-Bissaka's not done anything wrong because Man City haven't dared to go down his side. I mean, what's Phil Jones doing here? He's got away with it, but no, he's not. No, he's not. It's like bloody Benny Hill. Benny Hill resurrected.
And he's injured it.
Oh, for God's sake. Oh, my life.
He's run. If you could have a Phil Jones moment, then he's just pulled it right off. I don't know how he does it. He's consistent, Mark.
He's done it in one game. He's played absolutely shit, and now he's injured himself.
By running about in circles, chasing the ball. Honest to God, he's like a blindfolded dog running after a tennis ball. He just hasn't got a clue. Anyway, we're not doing much with that, are we? At least he stopped the ball going in the back of the net, kind of. Try and give him some credit.
Well, basically, if you're not watching, Phil Jones has just injured himself being shit by allowing the ball to bounce. I mean, I've just said Benny Hill. He wasn't injured at that point, but Benny Hill was a cartoon, well, not a cartoon. He was a comedy actor. It used to have that music, and he wasn't injured when I said that. But he let the ball bounce. You thought he'd won it back, then he hadn't, then he had, and then he's injured himself. So yeah, I don't know whether he's going to have to come off or not, but.
Yeah, I think you're right about the people who've performed well. Dave, he's done what he needs to do. He's a shot-stopping goalkeeper. He stopped shots, the ones he could do. Wan-Bissaka, he's halfway through the season now, and he's the best defensive right back in the league. And Fred having a bit of a barney with Mahrez here.
Too
Good
late.
on you, Fred. Show a bit of attitude.
Yeah,
he's been all right, Fred, as well. Actually, I know he hasn't been good, but he has put a shift in. And if you look around, he's running after the ball more than most people trying to close it down. Do you know what, Mark? When we press with 3 players up front with no backup, and then Man City just pass around it. I don't know why we bother pressing, because there's no backup to it. You've got 3 players up front running around for no reason. Man City are perfectly capable of passing it around to anybody. Our press is awful. It's not even a press.
No, and what worries me is that when, as a fan, you can pick out what we do. And against Arsenal, I thought we pressed energetically, amazingly well for 7 minutes, and then it disappeared. And against Wolves, it was 7 minutes, and today it was 7 minutes. And I'm like, right, if I as a fan can see that for the first 7 minutes of game we go hell for leather pressing really well, and then we stop. If you're the opposition, Norwich, on Saturday, note to Norwich, first 7 minutes, when your centre-backs get it, just blast the long ball for 7 minutes, and then we'll stop doing it, and then you can start playing out from the back. It's really, really weird. The Glazers aren't going for now, says K Brown. What needs to be done? I'll let you answer that one as well. And don't worry, Mark, they've done this to us 3 times, 3-0 at Wembley and 3-0 twice at the Emirates. At least you scored, says Luke Howard. Yeah, but this is a Manchester derby for us. United have just hit a good shot
there
from Rashford. But that's what I mean. I'll take that. It's a total smash and grab. We do not deserve 3-2. But Rashford here, they stand off him. He hits a good shot. It's straight at the keeper, to be fair. He just sort of shit himself a bit, doesn't he? But it's a corner. We're good at corners. We know what's happening here. The corner's coming in.
I'd say we haven't got Maguire, but he's
Phil Jones bullet
coming in.
No. It's another corner.
Another corner. Come on, United. I bet they're cheering at Old Trafford for this. Like when Burnley cheer when they get a corner.
I would love us to get. Just make the second. Make the second leg interesting, please. Fred,
I'd take 3-all,
short corner again.
I don't care how we perform. I mean, it won't change my opinion on the game, but if we can get a 3-all,
4-3
every day of the week.
Get Michael Owen on.
It's
Phil Jones again. He's managed to head it back.
I'll tell you what, Phil Jones. Just looking at him, how is he a footballer? I don't know what's going on. How's he been with Manchester United for 10 years? That says it all about our club. He's awful.
I'll tell you what I don't like as well, in all seriousness. Ian Hibbert says he's an Arsenal fan, but he likes this channel. We are the best fan channel, really. Whatever the club. United on the attack here. Gomez. He's got tackled there. I think he should have played that off. But I forgot what I was going to say now. Sterling's on the attack anyway.
Yeah, there could be a little break. We're back in numbers, so we should be okay. But Gundogan's on the ball.
We have got fan cams after as well. They'll be coming in. I'll do my match reaction straight after this, and then the fan cams start coming in about half an hour afterwards. So they're going to be very interesting, Paul, actually.
They're not going to be very nice, Mark. I don't care about the result. Even if we nick another goal, they're not going to be very nice, because how long can you take this football before you start getting despondent about it? How many excuses can you come out with? Like Ollie has to come out and defend this game today. And he'll use, as you said before, the similar things.
We've won the second half.
We have won the second half, and it's against one of the best 3 teams in Europe. And Pep Guardiola's been doing this forever, and the excuses are going to come out. But in terms of the performance, he'll say the boys put everything in. It was a decent performance in the second half. We won it. It's just we couldn't figure out what to do in the first half. I made a change. We just know better. We're not stupid as fans, are we? Let's face it. Oh. Phil Jones getting a block in there. Absolute life-saving challenge. Well done. Oh, no, it was Matic. I'm sorry. But, yeah, all the same excuses are going to come out, Mark.
Well, I've just tweeted something there, so I'll just give everyone else. It's basically a tweet. We won the second half. I'm happy, and the future is bright. I think that's what he's going to say.
It's true. It is. I mean,
if you start the future from half-time...
Yeah, if you start from half-time, we won 1-0, so we should get 1.5 points. I don't know what he's going to do, but it's going to be positive, and I don't know what you can take from this game. If anybody can find anything positive in this game, please put it in the live chat, because I'm very interested to know, but I find it difficult. I'd love to pull something out and say this is it, but there really isn't anything. Man City have taken the foot off the gas. Well, they have not put us to the sword. They have not played the same way as they did in the first half.
Well, Jesus there could have ran directly at us, and he didn't. He went sideways. They're just keeping the ball. They're playing keep ball.
And making us look stupid. Because if counter-attacking football doesn't work and you can't play a possession-based game, you're always going to be losing games. Because if you can't keep the ball, you can't score. And if counter-attack doesn't work and you can't keep the ball, you haven't got a plan B, have you? Which is what we talk about all the time. So it's difficult to take in, Mark, this game. It really is. It's, I feel flat and I don't like it. And that's how I felt a lot recently with Manchester United. And that's partly to do with Ollie.
Yeah, I mean, there's not. Do you see any change? We've got about a minute and a half left. Do you see any change from the club reactionary after this? Be it transfers or not? I mean, they're going to stick with Ollie.
Transfers aren't going to make any difference. No. Yeah, transfers will not make any difference. What if you dump Eriksen in the middle of that team? What's going to happen? Eriksen is going to flounder. We have a habit of destroying players because, as I said before, we need a spine. We need a world-class spine, and then we need to introduce our flair players around them. A world-class spine, Pereira will probably look good. Rashford will look amazing. It will improve the players that we have, and they will learn from an experienced world-class spine. At the moment, we've got a flaky spine with moments players based around it, with tactics which make no sense and are very one-dimensional. I mean, that's not a plan for success. That really isn't.
No. And the thing is, it's like, if you sit back and say, yeah, give Ollie time. My constant argument is, what are we giving him time for? Because we like him. Like the formations, the tactics, it's not getting any better, and he's a year in. And that's my message to the club really as well. Like, Adrian Lefebvre says, wow, just wow, as fans see it all the time, but this isn't a reality check. The board and higher ups can't see. What else? No words. If they can't see it, and they can't see it, and that's the thing. And Hayder Hammond, I'm actually sick of this team, says Hayder Hammond, and I think that's the truth, isn't it? That is the truth.
Mark, I've got a question for you. What are you, and also the fan base and people in the live comments, what are we waiting to happen? What's the thing we're waiting for with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Because we're all like, give him time. What are we giving him time to do? Are we giving him time to change his entire philosophy and tactics but when he gets better players? Are we waiting him to just get better players and make this football work? What are we waiting for to change to be able to get behind him? Because I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I agree. It is really, really, really disappointing. And I think time's up, isn't it? Time is up.
Yeah, time's up. Whistle's blowing 3-1. I'm not happy. I don't know if anybody else is, but we'll have to wait for the fan cams and the breakdown, to be honest, Mark. I'll see you after on the live reaction.
Cheers, Paul. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
All right, mate. Cheers. Have a good one. Laters.
Thanks to Paul there, and thanks to all you lot for watching. Look, match reaction. Links in the video description. I'm going to be on there in about 30 seconds time digesting this result. It's really disappointing, of course. I will speak to you on the match reaction, link in the video description. We'll be doing player ratings on there. We'll be taking some of your thoughts as well, and then we've got the fan cams coming afterwards. So City saved Ollie's job. Did he take Lingard off, says big boy Benny. Speak to you in a moment, link in the video description. Let's talk about that. Lingard's going to be my opening topic, actually. See you in a minute. Top line of the video description. And make sure you subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner.